VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
And good afternoon to everyone that is watching us on VFL.com.au or tuning in on SEN2. This is Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL Live, and you can see in front of us at the moment our Indigenous ceremony. It's of course Dreamtime at the G tonight at the MCG between the Tigers and the Bombers. The VFL sides are going head-to-head top of the table clash. We have a war cry currently taking place. So there we go, some of the pre-game ceremonies. It's a pretty big day for both clubs. It's become such a great event, Dreamtime at the G, and it has filtered down here to VFL level, and this is a huge game because it is a top of the table clash. In the Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL, good afternoon, my name is Adam Sarikoglu. A couple of new voices on the coverage rolling out over the next couple of weeks because the head honcho, Peter Mercado, is going to be away for the next 8 weeks, and therefore my co-commentator during that period is going to be Michael Pepicelli. Peps, welcome to the coverage, and this is one hell of a game we've got coming up today.
Thank you very much, Adam. As you said, it's become one of the great occasions on the AFL calendar, and that's filtered down to the VFL calendar as well. A really moving ceremony we just saw, a real pleasure to be a part of that as well, here watching it and broadcasting it. But furthermore, Adam, it's a game between the top two teams on the ladder. We are in for an absolute cracker today. Richmond sitting on top at 6-0, and Essendon sitting in second with a very healthy percentage at 5-1. They've been crushing teams throughout this season, so it'll be really interesting to see how the Bombers do coming up against the class of the VFL in Richmond.
We've seen quite a bit of Essendon here on Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL Live this year. This is the 4th time that we've done an Essendon game. It's the 2nd time that we've had a look at Richmond. We saw them in round 2 against Port Melbourne, and interestingly enough, they're back next week on Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL Live against North Melbourne. Only one blip on the radar for the Bombers, and that was against Casey at Windy Hill. That was a 39-point loss in the end, but injuries really hampered the Bombers that day. Just looking at team selection here today, Michael, 15 AFL listed players are in the side here for the Bombers, only 11 for the Tigers, and that might be advantage Essendon.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. We know about the injury struggles for Richmond at AFL level, especially the ruck situation with Ivan Soldo being suspended for tonight's game as well. So Callum Coleman-Jones has gotten the call up, but it's probably left the Richmond team a little bit light on in terms of AFL listed talent, the VFL Richmond team. That is, Essendon, they've got some class AFL players in today. David Myers had a huge game last week, 33 touches and 4 goals. Wasn't enough to get him an AFL call-up, so he's back out there today. He'll be looking to dominate in the midfield once again. For the Tigers, Jack Graham back from injury, which is great for them, and he'll certainly be looking to push his case for AFL selection in the coming weeks.
Glenn Hill is our man, boundary side today. It's a lovely deck, as it always is here at the Swinburne Centre, as we do welcome Glenn Hill, if he has actually got his headset on. Hilly? No, we might not be getting Hilly.
Are you there, Adam?
Hello, Glen Hill. How are you?
Very well, mate. Yourself?
Good. It's a nice deck, as it always is here at the Swinburne Centre, but a bit cloudy overhead and just a little bit of wind drifting through as well at the moment. You got us, Hilly?
Yeah, it's just dropping in and out a little bit, but yeah, we'll be expecting some rain at some stage today. We are forecast for some small scattered showers, I believe, so we will get some. There is a wind sort of blowing across the ground, and it will come across from the outer side to the Swinburne Centre side. It may favour, if anything, screen.
Front Avenue end, is that?
Yes.
Yep, right of screen if you are watching us on VFL.com.au. Looking forward to the insights of Glen Hill boundary side today. You'll be going into the huddles as well. Hopefully we'll get Dan Jordan and Craig McRae during the broadcast today. And as always, the much anticipated post-game interview as well with who we deem the best on ground today. Now, Michael Peppicelli, some other games taking place around the grounds at the moment in the Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL. And it's a very good start for Geelong against Coburg. That's a game that's 20 minutes into the first term. 2 goals to Nathan Kruger, singles to Smith and Tarser, and it's Geelong 4-0-24 leading Coburg, two behinds at the JMHBA Stadium. And the other game is at Victoria Park, not far away from here. Big game between Collingwood and Box Hill. 1-2-8 the Pies. Box Hill 1-1-7. Ralph and Jared Roughhead, your goal kickers in that game. Now, interesting, Ruffy, if it's very quickly, Peps, didn't get a call up.
Yeah,
the
that's
AFL team after that injury news that did come through last night about Mitch Lewis.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. Alistair Clarkson certainly not one to shy away from making a statement, and I guess he's done that in the last few weeks. Ruffy, of course, kicked the 5 goals in that AFL curtain raiser against Footscray a couple of weeks ago. That wasn't enough to get a call-up. He was a little bit more quiet, in difficult conditions, it must be said, at this very oval last Sunday against the Tigers. So no call-up for him, and Mark Pittnett, I believe, was the man who got his opportunity to replace Mitch Lewis.
Tonight there is one more game here in the VFL. That's going to be between Footscray and North Melbourne. That's while the AFL clubs have obviously gone head-to-head at Marvel Stadium. So that'll be a 7 o'clock start between the Bulldogs and the Kangaroos. And then tomorrow, the TV game you can watch on Channel 7 from 11:30 is Sandringham and the Northern Blues. And then at 2 o'clock we have Frankston taking on Werribee at Skybus Stadium, and at Downer Oval, Point Gellibrand, it is Williamstown and Casey, with the Borough having a week off after a very impressive win against Casey right here on Hardjacker Totally Workwear VFL Live last week. Hilly, don't know if you caught some of the chat we had before about team selection. 15 AFL listed players for the Bombers today. The Tigers only have 11.
Look, I don't think it'll really affect the Tigers. They've been decimated with some injuries, obviously, in the senior team, and some of the really impressive VFL players on the Tigers list have gone up. But the Tigers' VFL depth is outstanding, and I think you'll find that they'll stand up again today. We're just going into the centre now for the toss.
Are we, or is it just Richmond's
no, we're not.
ruck warm-up with maybe a child and some of the other midfielders? I think that's what that might be, Hilly.
A bit excited about this contest and want to get it underway.
Yeah, so it's a 2:30 start here.
Look, obviously the Bombers have had a great start to the season along with the Tigers, and we've just really got a top 4 battle on our hands today. The Bombers were really impressive the first probably 3 weeks, and then just dropped the ball a little bit since, and just haven't been quite as impressive. I do like the Tigers today. I think they'll stand up. Their VFL depth has been outstanding in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they've been finding ways to win. I just talked to Craig McRae off air just a couple of moments ago, and he said that we've just found ways to win. When we've been challenged, we've found ways. For the majority of the time, they stick to the same game plan week in, week out, and they stick to their brand of football, and it works.
Just from a Essendon point of view, Mitch Brown comes back into the lineup, first VFL game since round 1, which was a huge win, a 20-goal win, in fact, against the Dolphins. He kicked 5 goals and 17 disposals in that game, so he comes back to VFL level today. But Dylan Clark's had a very good season so far, 24 and a half disposals on average, and he got Trent Minot, who's back in the side today as well. He's averaging pretty much 24 disposals, a lot of high possession getters in the Bombers lineup, and Richmond don't quite have those kinds of numbers. Patrick Naish is probably one, enjoying a very good season, 5 goals and 26 disposals on average so far this year. So a couple of guys that are good accumulators, but again, Michael, if you're going to ask me to provide a tip today, I think it's going to be Essendon. I think they do bounce back. I know they won last week, but it was a 13-point win against Sandringham. Injuries clearly played their role against Casey. They could well be the best team in it. They have got a much better percentage than Richmond as well, which means the winner of this game will automatically go to the top of the ladder. We'll get Hilly's tip in a moment, but I'm going with Essendon today, Michael.
Interesting you say that, Adam. I think the Tigers, they just have a way of getting it done throughout the injury crisis, whether it's AFL level or VFL level. I'll back them in today, but expecting an absolute classic.
Hilly?
I'm along the same lines. I think the Tigers today in a classic encounter, and everybody that comes down to the ground today will really enjoy it, and then they'll head over to the G for the big one later on. We're just about to have the...
Yep, Derek Egmalesi-Smith will be tossing the coin, and the Essendon skipper Aaron Heppel is in the middle. Steve Morris is out there, the normal captain for Richmond.
Aaron Heppel calls. It's a Tigers coin, and the Tigers will kick with the breeze in the first quarter.
Brunson Avenue it will be, the railway end of the grounds, if you like. A very good crowd here at the Swinburne Centre. As you can imagine, a lot of these people here will be making their way to Dreamtime at the G. A little later on today, we obviously had VFLW action earlier before our game, and you watch that one on vfl.com.au and listen to it on SEN2. And that was a win to the Tigers there. So this is it, the Sandy set. Michael Peppercelli is the biggest game of the year so far in the hard jacket. Totally workwear VFL. The undefeated Tigers, the 5-1 Bombers. Winner will be not only on top of the ladder, but probably your premiership favourite as well. Our umpires today are Jack Edwards, Nathan Toner, an EDFL product, and Joel Clamp.
So players making their way into positions after receiving a final rev up from their captains. Set for a ripping game this afternoon. As Adam said, the undefeated Richmond Tigers, 6-0 this season. They've actually gone 34-14 since the start of 2017, Adam. They have been an absolute juggernaut at VFL level. Haven't managed to win a flag in that time, but perhaps this could be their year. Essendon will have plenty to say about that, not only this afternoon, but throughout the course of the season as well. It's going to be Mabior Chol and Luke Goetz handling the ruck duties at this opening centre bounce. A big opportunity for Mabior Chol this afternoon. He's got the ruck all to himself with no Ivan Soldo and no Callum Coleman-Jones either, so he'll be looking to impress as we're set to go here for the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup. 1v2 in the VFL, and we get started with a brilliant bounce. Goetz wins the first hit out for Essendon. Chol tried to follow up, but Myers was classy. Got the handball off to Clark, and Essendon into attack for the first time this afternoon. Bagley the target, couldn't bring it in, and Morris now for Richmond. He finds the returning Jack Graham at left half back. Forced to hold it up for the moment before sending a long ball down the line. Big pack there. No one able to bring down the mark, and now a strong tackle laid, and we'll get a ball up right in front of the scoreboard.
Tackler was Michael Hartley. You'll see him more than likely doing the kicking in duties today. We've seen a lot of that from him here on VFL Live so far. Chol won the tap down, not quite to advantage though. The Bombers trying to work it out in tight quarters. Clark's handball tried to pick out Myers. It heads boundary side. There is a whistle. The downfield umpires paid a free kick. Looked like he indicated some sort of tripping infringement, and Graham's going to claim the free kick for the Tigers. Goes short. Butler takes the mark. We still haven't gone inside 50 yet this afternoon. For the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup, and top spot on the VFL ladder. Butler gets the first inside 50 today. Hartley with the fist. Clark did well to get the hand pass out, and the Bombers do find themselves out of danger. Myers' little kick is at 15. Umpire says yes. Mark was paid there to Ballard. Goes short. This is Morris. Second year as Richmond's VFL captain. After losing his spot on the AFL list. Right foot. Charles the target, and he takes it uncontested. 45-degree angle, and he will have a shot from about 40 to kick the Tigers' first of the afternoon. This will be his 15th goal of his season, if he does convert.
He's a much improved player, Adam. Been really impressed with his development this season. He just looks more confident, more natural in his game. And it's been a really reliable kick, so let's see if he can slot this one.
He's Richmond's leading goal kicker here in the VFL. Chol, left foot's on the way, liked it off the boot, celebrated straight away. And the Tigers get first blood at the Swinburne Centre. It took 2.5 minutes, 1 straight 6. Bombers not only yet to score, yet to go forward of centre.
Oh, nice roar.
All yours, Healy.
Just with the wind advantage in this quarter, the rain coming. It's just not. We're just not sure how much rain we're going to get, but we're definitely going to get some.
Right.
It just might be a huge advantage.
I'll keep it on the radar for you, Healy, if you like. And
it'd be great.
So crucial to get off to a good start this afternoon with the rain set to come down later on. A 3 or 4 goal lead when that rain does start to come could be valuable, as we're back in the middle, but that bounce is going to have to come back. 3 minutes gone, 1 straight 6 the Tigers. Essendon yet to score. A good start for Mabior Chol, kicking the first goal of the afternoon. Call that one a draw. Both Goats and Chol got hands to it. Then Chol laid a strong tackle. Dispossessed Clark. Goes in again, does Chol. Worked his way around some traffic nicely. Nanny gets the handball off, and now the Tigers will go inside 50. It's a long ball. No mark there in the 1-on-1. Townsend trying to crumb. Silvestro's there as well. Big pack of players forms. What's the umpire going to do here? He's letting it go, but eventually calls for a stoppage. Almost 4 minutes gone, and he balls it up quickly, does the umpire. Lots of numbers around this. Handball comes out. Didn't decide to take the shot, but the kick was no good. Intercepted by Ham. Now long, and Essendon can work it out by hand. Hartley finds a leading target. It's Brown, a long way from home.
Tucked up against the fence here at right half back. Here's Brown, the right foot. Down the line, centre wing, maybe a child in the region here. Falls out the back. Now it's Graham that has it for the Tigers. He'll come back in board, and Markov. Different number for Markov today in the 37. Normally worn by Connor Menadue, was looking for Butler. Long got in the way there for the Bombers. Dispossessed was Turner. Bombers get it back. Now Ham pass out to Hocking. From the paint of 50, chip to the pocket. Just a little bit too hot for Mark Bagley. Boundary throw in the left forward pocket, as deep as Essendon has been so far, as Matt D comes off and his captain Aaron Heppel makes his way back out onto the park here at the Swinburne Centre. A little bit of wind. We did see Derek Igmalesi-Smith win the toss and send the Tigers toward the right of your screen if you're watching us. The Brunton Avenue end of the ground here, as Heppel goes all the way back to Hartley. Can go in board. Interesting ball that one for Minot, but he did well. Had to be a perfect pass, and it was. The mark was taken by Trent Minot. Goes wide to his right. And the Bombers now will go with the long ball inside 50. Jumping for the ball was Houlihan, but pushed away from it by Morris. It goes out of play, boundary throwing.
That was Canellan sending the Bombers inside forward 50. He's back into the lineup this afternoon. One of 7 changes for the Bombers. Plenty of turnover from week to week. They, of course, had a 13-point win against Sandy at Trevor Barker Oval last Sunday, as Chol wins it out of the ruck and gets the clearing kick as well, but it was only as far as Hartley. Handball over the head was inventive for Ridley, and now the Bombers are losing some ground, but eventually they go back forward, and McKenna takes the mark. Just forward of the wing on the punt road side of the ground. Goes inboard for Myers, and open man on the other side. Well, there's a couple of them. Zerk Thatcher one, and he takes the mark strongly. Could have given off the handball to Long, but instead goes with the short pass and finds Mark Bagley. He's taken the mark about 40 metres out from goal. Kick will come from about 45, maybe 47 metres out. And Bagley can kick the Bombers first of the afternoon.
Right goalpost, I think, Hilly.
Yeah, it should bend right to left. In saying that, the flag's on the opposite side of the ground and blowing the opposite way now.
So in he comes, the 32-year-old, his first VFL game for season 2019, and he's started that one a little bit too far left, and the breeze did the rest, pushed it to the wrong side of the post, through for one behind, Bombers on the board.
Igmalesi Smith went short and found Beasley. Sends the ball long. Charles underneath at a couple of Bombers. Unrealistic jump at the ball there, and a free kick given away by Heppel. So Charles at right half back. He can go short to Turner. Ballard might be next in the chain. No, he comes off the ground. Brewer comes on. The kick was in the direction of Collier Dawkins. Still behind true centre wing are the Tigers. Leading it by 5 points. Maybe a Charles kicked the only goal of the game so far. Markov. The switch. That's okay. Tigers using it well at the moment. Beasley back by hands, and now Naish's kick doesn't quite pick out Caulfield. The fist came and it goes out of bounds. A nice fist by Houlihan. Boundary throw in. Skill level's pretty good today, Healy, particularly by the Bombers.
Yes, certainly is so far, and considering it's so windy out there.
Might have lost Healy there. Just been a bad spot. Throw in, out of side, punt road side of the ground. There's a whistle in ruck contest. Townsend has to give the ball away here, and he does. The free kick to be taken by Bauman. 23rd man today for the Bombers. We go inside 50. Wayward ball, though, out of bounds on the full. Tigers get it right back.
They certainly do, and it'll be Beasley's free kick. Deep inside defensive 50. Coming off 13 disposals last week. It's one of their better players in that game against Box Hill as well. Chol couldn't quite bring down the mark, but Silvestro was there to crumb. Inside forward 50 they go. And the mark is taken by Collier Dawkins. Wants to go immediately because he's got numbers inside 50. The kick held up in the wind though. Ham did well to get it to ground, but it's all Richmond at ground level. They can raffle it off. Townsend's the one who snaps the goal. Richmond gets their second. And they move to 2 straight 12. Essendon 1 behind after 9.5 minutes here on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live.
Hilly, I'm looking at the radar at the moment. It might miss us. There is a shower coming, but it looks like it might be just heading south and we'll go over to Bay instead of actually hitting us here in Richmond. So we might be safe.
That would be nice because I didn't bring an umbrella for the boundary.
I've got a feeling that's going to miss us.
Let's hope
good
so.
News for all. Very good crowd here today at the Swinburne Centre. Much bigger than what we saw in our previous broadcast here earlier in the year.
And it's definitely building, Adam.
Yep.
I think you'll see...
free entry, by the way.
By half-time, I think you'll see it absolutely packed on the outer side.
Free entry if you're on your way to the MCG for Dreamtime at the G, and you do want to take a look at the VFL. It's a big game. As Hocking picks up the bouncing ball up towards half-forward. Not a great kick, though, and Caulfield takes the mark. At right half back, quickly ran back toward the corridor, and I'm not sure why he did. Coughs it up eventually, Hocking. Free kick as soon as he was claimed. It was because it was a high contact free. Myers on the outskirts of 50. Left foot, that might hold up in the breeze a little bit, and tracking back and taking the mark there was Naish. As I said, having a good season for the Tigers. Moved it toward the outer side. Nice mark taken by D. Against his old side, Matt D.
Been in really good form too, Matt D.
McKenna next in the chain. Too far out to score. Pokes it toward the pockets, and that's a good mark taken by Brown. Was it paid? No. Looked like he did clunk it. It did fall out eventually to Jock. Now Minot's kick looking for Ham. The fist there was good. Socket off the ground toward goal. In fact, it's heading toward the pocket, and Brewer's not going to keep that in play. Throw in left forward pocket here for the still goalless Bombers. One behind. Richmond, 2 straight 12. Hard jacket, totally workwear. VFL Live, it's round 8, and here's Michael Pepicelli.
Blake Brewer, best on ground last week for the Tigers. Yet to call his name so far in this one. Didn't rack up a possession there. There he is, right on cue, but he's turned it over with the kick. Ridley, handball inside 50. They're working in tight quarters here, the Bombers. Eventually Gleeson just hacks it to the hot spot. Punched away by the Richmond defence. McKenna's going to be the first one to it, though, for Essendon. He loses some ground, gives it back to his skipper Heppel, back to Mosquito, and now they can steady. McKenna, left foot ball inside. No mark taken, and the Tigers can stream off half back in numbers here. Silvestro receives, then turns around, had to be quick with the handball and was. Now Miller weaved his way through some congestion and was able to get a handball away, and things settle for the moment for the Tigers, and a good strong mark taken at half forward. And they're going to go inside 50. Once again, it's Thompson. Goes long. Big ruckman there plugging the hole. That's Bowman, the 23rd man, and he takes the mark.
Bombers have their ruck issues. Draper not out there at the moment. This is Jock, who impressed us so much last year on Collingwood's VFL list. Down the line we go. The fist there from Brown. Bombers will win it back. McKenna up against the boundary line. The high right football. Markov is going to let that bounce. Probably did take a kind bounce for him in the end. The help did arrive. Still not out of danger yet, the Tigers. Beasley's rushed, scurried, ball's okay. Mark taken by Townsend. Wanted to get things moving quickly. It skidded into the lap there of Silvestro. Needed help and it was there. Managed to get the ball out. Miller inside 50 for Chol. Can't take the mark. Zerk Thatcher working on him. Gets the tap toward the line. Leading the foot race as well. Second tap for the line. Is it deliberate out of bounds? No.
Wow.
Boundary throw in right half forward here for Richmond.
There's one thing to tap it in front of yourself as you're going along, but
the second tap?
The second tap was definitely the
boundary throw in right half forward for the Tigers. Bowman won the hit out, but it was sharked by Townsend. High ball inside 50. Big leap came, but no mark taken, and now the Bombers able to clear. Marty Gleeson, another one of those 7 inclusions for the Bombers this afternoon. Just kicked it long to no one in particular. Credlin, the first one there, played the 1-2 with a teammate, and then his searing ball inside is good for Thompson. Leading up the ground early as Thompson kicked a couple of goals last week, had himself a good game. Handball in board. Townsend needs to be quick. He is, but he was dispossessed by Houlihan. Had time to regather, but Jock able to apply the spoil. Still going is Jock. Now Morris has it. Might have been taken high. Umpire decides to call for a stoppage instead. 14 minutes gone. Richmond 2 straight 12, leading Essendon 1 behind in round 8 on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. Scholl won the hit out and then was forced to apply the tackle because he tapped it down to an opponent, and we get another stalemate. 11-point lead for the Tigers as Goats wins it down, but only as far as Ballard for Richmond. Ball inside 50, punched back out by the Bomber defence. Clark eventually able to extract. Gives the handball to Jock, but he was dispossessed, and lots of numbers around this footy. Eventually the Bombers clear through to Clark. No, they don't. The kick was smothered. Here's a chance for Richmond. They've got numbers inside forward 50, and the mark is taken. One of those was Coates. Thought about giving it off. Tucked up against the pocket here is Coates.
tricky kick with this breeze, Michael. Could end a little right or left to right, because at the moment the flags are blowing the opposite direction. It feels like it.
We'll see what the ball does. He's made a decent fist of it, and he's put it through. Goal kicking tips courtesy of Glenn Hill, as Will Coates puts it through. Richmond 3 straight 18, Essendon 1 behind. They're off to a great start, the Tigers.
Hill at his finest there, boundary side around the grounds. The Cats looking good against Coburg, 6-1-37. The Lions are 2-6-18 at GMHBA Stadium. And at Victoria Park, a much closer affair between Collingwood and Box Hill, 2-3-15. The Pies, Box Hill, 3-1-19. We might go around the grounds and look at the top level shortly as well. A couple of games in play in the AFL, one in Launceston, one at Marvel Stadium.
Hawks with a big lead in Tassie, Adam, 38-8, and a tie game at Marvel Stadium between the Bulldogs and the Kangaroos. It's been a big 24 hours for the North Melbourne Footy Club.
Very happy about that score at Launceston. Back in the middle. Both ruckmen let it go to ground. It was Chol and Goats there. Minot put into the deck. Umpire's going to cross his arms. Umpire Joel Clamp. No, it's a free kick.
Yeah, paid for a sling tackle there, Adam, and a little controversial, I would have thought.
All right, so Minot's going to take the free kick here for the Bombers. They need their first goal because they're down by 17 points. The kick goes wide towards half forward. Clark. Too far out to score. He gets the hurry up Clark. Left foot inside 50. Brown's his target. Puts the mitts up. No mark was taken. It came to ground level. Markov did well. Graham gets the clearing ball. Hartley in the right spot. Takes the mark for the Bombers. Bit of kick to kick on the outer side, on the punt road side of the ground. Here at the Swinburne Centre as Hartley goes inboard for D. Bombers in their red clash jumper, Indigenous jumper for the Tigers today. As a result, a couple of unusual numbers. Oleg Markov is one of them in the usual Connor Menadue, number 37. Zerk Thatcher, as the Bombers get a couple of loose kicks at half back. His kick down the line for Bagley's good. Wants to get things moving. Hartley. Right foot worm burner looking for Brown. Doesn't work out. Might have been touched off the boot. Clearing ball by Beasley. Back towards centre wing. Zerk Thatcher got the fist. Now Brewer gets away from Minot. Hand pass eventually came out. Tigers work towards half forward. Townsend. He's going to run out of real estate. That is out of bounds on the full and a free kick to be taken by the Bombers.
Right half back for Essendon. Hartley. It looks like kicking ball was a dangerous one for Zerk Thatcher, but showed the athleticism to get up and take the mark. Handball off to the running Clark. The kick, not to the advantage of Bagley, but he did well at the back against Malesi Smith. Now they go inside 50, the Bombers. Hocking looking for Brown.
Great play, Beasley.
But Beasley did an excellent job there, as you heard Glenn Hill say. Got across to thump it out of play.
He's one of those VFL players that I was talking to with Craig and Cray before the game that serviced the club so well over the last 3 or 4 weeks. 23-year-old, 193-centimetre key defender is Hugh Beasley. He's had a good game so far and he's having a good season as well. As Richmond clear from the congestion, Mark not able to be taken by Coates, the last goal kicker, just slipped through his fingertips. Now Mosquito shoots it out to D. He's just going to send a high ball towards half forward and hope more than anything else. Able to halve the contest, but it was all Richmond at ground level. Here comes Ballard. Sends it towards half forward to the one-on-one. Townsend there. And he does well to take the mark. Just decides to hold it up while his teammates run inside 50, but it also allowed the Bomber defenders to get back, and eventually Townsend says, I'm going to have a shot at goal.
What do you think, Hilly? Has he got the distance? He'll have to kick it from right on 50, I think.
Certainly does. Great kick of the footy in terms of length.
And again,
accuracy.
Left to right, I think. Left goalpost.
Maybe a little bit of an issue. Yeah, it should swing left to right. And might swing late.
Has proven to be a goal kicker in his AFL career, as Jacob Townsend didn't kick one last week, and this won't be a score. Ball still in play, deep in the left forward pocket for the Tigers. But that ball's not coming out.
Looked like a mark to the Tigers there. No?
Umpire didn't call a mark. He's got a stoppage instead. They need to be careful here, the Essendon defence. They wouldn't want to concede another one as we approach time on in this opening term. Plenty of numbers around this ball. Eventually Long emerges with it. His kick partially smothered. The Tigers' pressure is ferocious inside forward 50. Eventually the ball comes out to Street. His left foot kick is another one for the Tigers. Lockie Street puts it through, and the Tigers move to 4 straight 24. Essendon 1 behind on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live.
Well, they're taking their chances, aren't they, the Tigers? They've had 4 shots at goal for 4 goals. And that sort of tells the story at the moment. The Bombers have had plenty of football and have gone inside 50 many times, but haven't been direct enough, I think, with the footy.
Jack Graham up to 7 disposals, 8 disposals for Dylan Clark. All of that on the VFL app. If you haven't got it, download it. All the live stats. You can get the coverage of us. You can watch the Channel 7 game tomorrow. All sorts of things on that VFL app. It is an outstanding new addition to all of the VFL coverage. Back in the middle. Good bounce. Goats. Jock overran it. Still a hot ball to win here. Townsend's trying to escape the chaos and can't quite do so. Eventually the ball does spill out. Picked up by Mosquito, had to give off the handball to Long. Not sure he was expecting it. Now Ridley's ball wide to the outer side is good for Clark. And the Bombers do work it out in the end. And the kick comes in board now, that's okay. Canellan back in the side. Formerly on St Kilda's list, played a lot of footy at Sandringham. Left foot ball, down the line, and Sibbald takes the nice mark. Second grabber, too far out to score.
Good to see him out there too, because he's had an injury 2 weeks ago and we thought it might have been.
Right there, Healy. Here's a snap from Hocking. Is this the Bombers' first? It's not even a score. Out of bounds on the full. And they remain stuck on one behind. The Tigers are 4 straight. We have entered time on.
Turnover from the free kick, Adam. Essendon might get there first here, and they do through the skipper, Heppel. That kick just hung up in the air a little bit too long, and the Essendon cavalry came, and Heppel with a beautiful finish. And the Bombers finally on the scoreboard. Well into time on in this opening term. They move to 1-1-7. The Tigers 4 straight 24, a much needed goal and a much needed source as well, the skipper Aaron Heppel.
It came as the Tigers made an error coming out of the defensive 50, which has been unlike them so far in the contest. They've been very clean with foot and been very good at...
Just having a few minor mic issues with Hilly. Another good bounce back in the middle. Was pinballing around in the air. Myers eventually feeds the handball out to McKenna. Another hurried ball inside 50. Bagley can't take the mark. Ground level ball. Brown tries to spit out the handball. Now to left foot snap by Clark. Almost bounced at right angles and came back in, but it does go over the line for a minor score. And the Bombers are now 1-1-7 to 4 straight 24.
No, I think you're right. I think they're 1-2.
Yeah, I think they're 1-2 as well. All the scoreboards are off at the moment.
Yeah.
Bombers go inside 50 once again off the boot of Heppel. Bounced off Brown's chest. Bagley was there front and square, but he turned it over with the handball. And now the Tigers through Turner can escape defensive 50. They're just mucking around with it a little bit at the moment. But Egmalesi Smith eventually able to find Graham, who's been industrious early in his comeback. But that wasn't his best kick. And Hartley intercepts for the Bombers, who trail by 17 points. His kick too hot for Canellan. 16 points, in fact, they trail by the Bombers. We'll get a stoppage here right in front of our broadcast position.
Yeah, it's definitely 1-2-8, so if you're watching at home, we'll add that behind to the scoreboard shortly.
So, well into time on in this opening term. Can't be too far away from quarter time. Miller in the ruck, usually known as a key defender for Richmond, but he won the hit out, but it was all Essendon forward of the ball. Long revised his kick at the last minute. Mosquito needs to be good here. He gets around one, sells a little bit of candy, runs to 50 and finds a target inside forward 50. It's Houlihan. He is so exciting when he gets near the ball, Irving Mosquito, and that was no exception on that occasion.
You really do see why the Bombers took a chance on him in the AFL draft. For such a light guy, he moves so swiftly and shows a lot of promise, and I think the Bombers might have a really good one in the making there.
You're right, Hilly. He was picked 38 in the 2018 National Draft, was eligible to go to Hawthorn under the Next Gen Academy, but they didn't want him. They might be ruining that mistake as Houlihan comes in, kick across the face of goal, well across the face of goal, in fact, and out of bounds on the full.
And when you do see him move, he does remind you of Cyril Rioli, and I'm sure the Tigers can see that comparison.
Long kick toward the outer side, and that's a nice mark pulled down there by Miller. Down the line he goes. Mark taken by Arts. And toward the middle, Butler. Took a while to get his hand pass out, eventually did, then ripped off it. It was Collier Dawkins.
That's great tackle.
Butler did well to get back involved in the contest, win the free kick for the Bombers. Long a little slow to get up. So the long ball to the top of the square here for Richmond. Chol out of nowhere. The Jack in the Box takes the mark, and a shot on goal coming up for the Tigers. to extend their lead currently at 16 points.
He's having a good quarter, isn't he, Chol?
Certainly is. Stamped himself on this game.
Kicked the first goal of the game. As I said, leading goal kicker this year for the Tigers with 15. Similar kind of angle to his first goal, but on the other side of the ground, he hooks his kick. First blemish of the day for the Tigers, 4-1-25, playing at 1-2-8. We are 26 and a half minutes into this opening term. Hartley to bring it in for the Bombers.
Just wasn't confident on that kick, Joel. He just needs to show some confidence and stride into it a bit more.
Hartley plays on and kicks it long and wide to the outer side, looking for Brown, but Beasley was there for company and he won the contest. Long ball inside 50 for the Tigers, and another mark is taken. That might be Coates once again on that outer side. He's looked lively inside forward 50, has taken a couple of good marks, and he kicked a goal from a position very similar to this, maybe about 10 minutes ago. He can go back and kick his second. Just the 3 disposals last week for Billy Coates. Had a quiet game, but they showed enough faith in him to give him another go as he comes in from a tight angle once again. It's okay off the boot, but just missing across the face of goal. Second blemish on the scoreboard this afternoon for Richmond. 4-2-26, plays 1-2-8. And just before Hartley can take the kick in, we have the siren for quarter time. Connected on a nice barrel there, did Hartley after the siren. A shame it didn't count. But at quarter time here at the Swinburne Centre for the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup, it's Richmond 4-2-26, leading Essendon 1-1-7. Your goal kickers for Richmond, it's Townsend, Scholl, Street and Coates. And for the Bombers, the skipper Aaron Heppel, the lone goal scorer so far. So with the Tigers leading by 19 points, Glenn Hill is heading into the huddles. Looks like he's going to be listening to the Bombers huddle. He'll have an interview with one of the coaches when we come back from this break.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. We'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
There you go.
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
Or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL Club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport.
Welcome back to Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL live here at the Swinburne Centre. The Tigers are 4-2-26. The Bombers, well, we think they're 1-2-8. The scoreboard has not changed over. I think the goal umpires might have made their way over to the timekeepers, and it has now just ticked over. So 1-2-8 are the Bombers. Richmond 4-2-26. Adam Sarikoglu, Michael Pepichelli, and Glen Hill boundary side, who is in the huddles at the moment, Dan Jordan and Craig McRae, handing out their instructions for this top of the table clash at the Swinburne Centre. Around the grounds, before we do take a look at some individual stats. Box Hill having a good second term against Collingwood, 5-4-34. Collingwood are 3-3. 21. Geelong taking care of business against Coburg, 10-3-63. Very accurate, the Cats today, and very inaccurate, Coburg, 2-8-20. As Michael, I'll come to you. We'll go around the grounds, we'll go through the stats for each side, take a look at some of the high ball getters so far. Hilly, if you're listening, just cut us off when you're ready.
Thanks, Adam. So Dylan Clark, the leading disposal winner on the ground. He's been everywhere so far. He has 10 disposals. Michael Hartley not too far behind him with 8 for the Bombers. And for Richmond, it's Jack Graham in his comeback from injury. He's not wasting any time getting back to peak form. He has 8 disposals already after that first term. Townsend with 7 and a goal as well for the Tigers. And Hugh Beasley, who had a really good opening term, he has 6 disposals as well. Looking at some of the team stats, Adam, the inside 50s are even, but the Tigers were just able to take more advantage of their opportunities. 6 scoring shots from those 12 inside 50s. The Bombers only 3, so certainly an area in which Dan Jordan will be hoping his team is able to improve in the second term. Their intent's been pretty good around the footy, the Bombers. They've had more disposals than the Tigers, and they've also laid a lot more tackles as well.
Just going to jump across the top of you there, Michael. Thanks, Dan, for joining us again on live. It's been a hot start to the game. Your guys had plenty of inside 50, didn't capitalise on their entry.
Yeah, the game looks pretty even, really. It's the difference is that Richmond were really efficient going forward and obviously taking their chances in front of goal. So we like what the game's giving us. We just need to make sure that we get better opportunities inside 50 and are able to finish off, and hopefully it's a bit more even on the scoreboard.
And you talked about it quarter time with your guys about defensive transition. Just need to work on that.
Yeah, we know Richmond are elite at getting out and outnumbering and getting on the fly. So we need to make sure that we're switched on and taking a body if they're getting out, and if the ball loses, just putting our head down, rolling up the sleeves and doing the work.
No worries. Thanks again for your time on VFL Live.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, Glen Hill. Great interview there with Dan Jordan. Always very generous with his time, and as are the other coaches as well across the VFL.
Interesting, the sun's out here at the moment, Hilly, so as I said, the radar seemed to indicate that we are going to miss the shower that is on its way. It was crossing over Laverton not too long ago. I think it is going to miss us, but sunshine is a very nice, pleasant surprise here today.
Very pleased the sun is out at the moment, and let's hope it stays that way.
Tigers huddle's only just dispersed now.
Plenty of fans packed into that outer side. There's no cover out that side, so let's hope the rain stays away.
Is it a 3 to 4 goal breeze, as the scoreboard seems to indicate, Hilly?
It does feel that when you're out in the centre of the ground, but in saying that, standing in the Essendon huddle there at quarter time, I threw a bit of grass up and it actually blew the other way. So it's swirling. It's swirling right around the ground. But when you're in the centre of the ground, there's certainly an advantage, and it's quite strong to the right of screen.
Around the grounds, it is half-time at Launceston. Hawthorn leading Port Adelaide by 23 points, and North Melbourne leading by 16 in what is Brad Scott's final game as coach. I believe Reece Shaw will be the man taking over the North Melbourne job. We'll be seeing North Melbourne at VFL level next week here on VFL Live against the Tigers. Second term underway, and here's Michael Pepichelli.
Thanks, Adam. Ready to go here. Quarter number 2 on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. Scholl got first hands to it and then followed up with an inventive little soccer out of mid-air, but it all came unstuck at half forward because Myers shot a handball out to Gleeson, and now Goats gives a handball off to Ridley, takes a bounce when he didn't really have time. Good tackle by Butler. He's still going Butler, lays the tackle on Brown as well, but eventually the Bombers able to steady through Gleeson, but that's where the passage ends. Morris takes the mark, and they've got numbers here on the outer side to the Tigers. The bounce sat up nicely, and now Townsend. He can run to 50. He can run even further. Got around an opponent too easily, and the kick to full forward was lovely, and the mark was taken Looks like Miller at the top of the square. It is.
Great spot-up kick there from Townsend. Could have fired away at the goals, but preferred to hit the target just outside the top of the goal square.
Real unselfish stuff there from Jacob Townsend. And the result is a Ben Miller shot for goal, only about 15 metres out, directly in front. He kicked a goal last week, and he's got one for himself today as well. 5-2-32 Richmond, leading the Bombers 1-2-8. 1.5 minutes gone, second term.
Tigers much more vibrant than the line we used to get at Piranha Park there, Hilly.
It certainly is. And he's got a bit more depth to his voice.
Speaking of Coburg, they are really struggling now against Geelong. 11-4-70 the Cats. Coburg 2-8-20. That one's approaching half-time, and the other game as well is at Victoria Park. Both those games started a half hour before us, so approaching half-time. Box Hill 5-5-35, Collingwood 4-3-27. Back in the middle here at the Swinburne Centre, and the Tigers are starting to dominate. They're inside 50 again, and that's a wonderful mark. That is a very brave mark, going back with the flight by Jake Arts, and he's directly in front, can have a shot to extend this lead out to 30, what would that be, 30 points exactly.
And he's having a good season, Jake Arts. Been one of Richmond's most consistent players across the start of the season.
7 goals, averaging just under 13 disposals a game. He was on the VFL list last year and graduated up to the AFL list. Right foot's on the way. Another goal for the Tigers. They're looking good. They are undefeated, and right now may just stay that way at the end of round 8. 6-2-38, playing 1-2-8, and we've only played 3 minutes in this second term.
And they're getting some great service in the centre of the ground. They're winning these centre clearances and looking extremely dominant when they go forward. So a lot on Dan Jordan's plate here for the Bombers. They'll need to rectify this quick.
So 2 goals early in the second term for Richmond against what we believe to be perhaps a 2 to 3 goal breeze. So those goals will certainly be valuable, and the Bombers really need to get up and going, and they need to do it pretty quickly as the Tigers once again win it from the restart, but not able to clear the congestion. Ham was in there laying the tackle, so too Myers and Clark, and we'll get another stoppage just forward of the centre circles for Richmond. Comes out to Turner, long high ball inside forward 50 to a one-on-one. Did okay there to halve that contest, did Coates, and he goes in and lays a strong tackle, and we'll get a ball up deep inside forward 50 for Richmond. 6-2-38, plays 1-2-8, 4.5 minutes gone in this second term. Turner for Richmond, gives a handball off. Tackle came from Bagley, but good enough to get it out. Turner again, but didn't get any purchase on the ball with his kick, and now the Bombers a chance through Minot, but his kick smothered over the boundary line.
The Tigers seem happy just to keep handballing backwards there to escape trouble. There's always one extra. It's working well for them.
It's a 5-goal lead for the home team here. Chol was in front of Goats there. Now Butler working on ground level, just got held up, and now Clark's handball for Mosquito. Clark couldn't quite get his kick away. Minot, that didn't go 15, immediately pressured, had to get his hand pass out. Now to turnover, Beasley. Butler gets it back for the Tigers, looking for Morris. He was in battle with Ridley, it goes out of play. Another boundary throw in. What do you have to do if you're Essendon here? You have got the breeze.
At the moment, you've just got to be positive and be aggressive. You have got the breeze. And
so the ball coming in here. Good tackle by Bagley. That's not coming out. Umpire Jack Edwards calls for a ball up. So So we're 6 minutes into the second term. Next week, Richmond playing North Melbourne at Arden Street. That's where that game is fixtured. Essendon will be at Windsor Hill against the Northern Blues. Essendon ball here. Clark has it on the outer side. He'll be asked, sorry, it's Ham on the outer side. Asked to hurry up. Inside 50 we go. Brown tried to get rid of his man. Did he do it illegally? Umpire says he did. Free kick to go Beasley's way here for the Tigers. Inside defensive 50. Sun beaming down now over to Swinburne Centre. As Beasley looks to go towards the outer side. Looking for Arts, but the kick was way too hot. Out of bounds on the fall. And here's Gleeson. Haven't called his name much so far. Goes backwards along.
He's got a man laterally. That's where he goes. He finds D. Kick had to be perfect, and it was. And now D can send the Bombers long inside 50. Big fly at the back from Houlihan. Couldn't bring it down. Mosquito at ground level. Gives it off to Ham. He gets around one, gets around a second, and kicks a lovely goal for the Bombers. A much-needed 1-2. 2-2-14 Essendon. Richmond 6-2-38. Perhaps that can get the Bombers going.
And that's where they just need to continue to be positive and stay aggressive. They are kicking with the breeze here, and there's plenty of time left in this quarter. They'll have another 20 minutes or so with it. So although they'll be 4 goals behind on the scoreboard, they have been very much in the contest. Not so much this quarter so far, but in the contest overall.
Confirmed half-time scores around the grounds. A 50-point lead for Geelong over Coburg, 11-4-70 to 2-8-20 at GMHBA Stadium. And it's Box Hill leading Collingwood by 9 points, 5-6-36 to 4-3-27 at Victoria Park. Seeing if we can bring up some AFL around the ground scores. We'll get to those in a moment because we're back live here in the middle of the Swinburne Centre. Ball picked up by Canellan. Got his kick away just as Chol was breathing down on him. Morris wins it back for the Tigers. And pass out wide. Now coming back in board is Manar. Tried to pick out Ballard, but Mosquito got in the way and took the relieving mark for the Bombers. Moving Mosquito. Doesn't know what to do. Has to get around Ballard eventually. High left foot ball. Towards half forward. Big fist on it there by Caulfield. Clark wrapped up as soon as he claimed it. Now to Union. Myers. Mosquito, long-range handball out wide for Ham, the most recent goal kicker. Left foot's inside 50, just over the head of Brown, and going back and taking the relieving mark there for the Tigers was Credlin. Butler just takes the mark in front of Heppel. Heavy contact afterward. Wasn't allowed to play on. So it comes back to Dan Butler. His 5th game here in the VFL this year, has 8 goals to his name. Shinned the kick. Not a great kick at all. Gleeson collides with Ballard. The latter picked up the ball for the Tigers. Turner. And now a high ball from Egmalesi Smith bouncing on the wing. Chol waited for it out the back. Has to work his way through some traffic. Did well. Very nice hands in the air. Butler takes a bounce. Mosquito's hot on his heels. Shepherd provided by Street. Hand pass went out wide. Now we're going inside 50. It's Collier Dawkins. Well picked up here by Morris. Hand pass over the top to the square. Goal coming up. Coast to coast go to Tigers. Jack Graham finishes 7-2-44. Playing 2-2-14, 9.5 gone second term.
And you can thank Marboy Chol for that goal. He worked through traffic there, was amazing.
Yeah, you're right, Healy. The agility is unbelievable.
3 or 4 to beat there. Set the game alive.
You're certainly right there, Glenn Hill. He has the agility of a man half his size. Does Marboy Chol. He's putting on a clinic so far this afternoon, and the Tigers have a 30-point lead after that goal to Jack Graham. Around the grounds in the AFL, it's the Hawks leading by 22 points early in the 3rd term, and over at Marvel Stadium, North Melbourne lead by that same margin, 22 points, is approaching half-time. Back live here at the Swinburne Centre. Essendon about to clear, but handball partially smothered. Canellan goes in again and sends a wobbler inside forward 50. Brown forced to play the role of spoiler, did a good job, and then Bagley lays a strong tackle on his opponent and will get it ball up inside forward 50 for the Bombers. 10.5 minutes gone, second term. The Bombers have had a high-octane offense so far this year. in the VFL, but not able to translate that across against the Richmond defence so far this afternoon. Union's shot at goal smothered, and now the Tigers able to clear again. Chol halved that contest and then got it to ground. Gave it off to Ballard, but he's taken by Canellan. He took him on. That has to be holding the ball, and it is. So Ballard's lifted in the last minute or two. Canellan in there for Essendon. Sends it long through the fingertips of a Richmond defender. Egmalesi Smith there to mop up. His kick just into the path of Fletcher, who did well to get there and give a handball off to Manor, and now Silvestro on the broadcast wing.
Took it on all fours, wanted to give it back to Manor potentially, but Long was right
Chol
behind him.
1-on-1 at centre-half forward.
Kick's coming his way. It is a mismatch as well. The kick's going to hold up. They'll hold up a lot. Easy mark taken in the end by Bauman. He's on debut, 23rd man, goes down the line. That's going to be fisted out of play by Brenton Credlin, boundary throw-in. One of those three Tigers in a different jumper number today. So about 60 out from home here at the Bombers. Down by 30 points, by no means out of it, but don't want to concede too many more and try and peg a couple back themselves. 12 minutes into this second term as Jock's handball finds McKenna. Very high ball. It will land inside 50. It bounced away from Sibbald. Tigers win it back. Underground handball. Naish went inboard. Saw some yellow and black. Picked up by Ballard, a half-back. Under pressure. Had to go back to where it came from. Naish overran it. Bombers get back in numbers. Good pressure. It eventually spilt back out to Naish. And he gets a nice kick out wide. Tigers out of danger. And on a dash now is Manor. Kick towards half forward. It trickles inside 50. Fumbled initially there by Graham. Back there was D. Under pressure. Markov was there as well. Bombers gone down behind play. It's heading toward the boundary line. Ham forced out of play, and there is a Bomber who received some heavy contact and has not yet gotten up. I think it's Matt D.
It is.
Looks like he'll be okay. Boundary throw in here.
Interesting move. Jack Graham resting at full forward.
Coates in the ruck here for the Tigers. Hand pass off, and Townsend. Nice little dribbling pass was good. And the mark was taken by Charlie Thompson. Too far out to score though. So he sets it up. Another one that's holding up in this pretty stiff breeze at the moment, and Jock was in the right spot for the Bombers.
Gives a handball off immediately to Ridley. Noted as a good ball user across half back. That one to a 2-on-1. Sibbald did well, but the ball forced over the boundary line by Credlin.
Really dangerous time here for the Bombers. If the Tigers get the next goal into this such a strong breeze, they're going to go into half-time with a reasonable lead, you would think.
You sense the Bombers have lifted in the last 5 to 10 minutes, but the Tigers have been able to withstand it, and they've been able to put the score on the board as well, as Ridley for Essendon tries to clear defensive 50 once again, but a big mark taken by Morris in front of the grandstand here at the Swinburne Centre, and they love it here, do the Tigers fans. Goes inboard with the kick and finds Credlin. There's a big fly from Stephen Morris. 30 years old, he's still able to get up in the air as Credlin sends it towards half forward. Townsend captures his opponent in a bone-crunching tackle, and the umpire will call for a ball up.
30's quite young if you ask me. Michael Peppicelli around the grounds. Leads to Box Hill and Geelong. Both are at half-time. 9 points for the Hawks and 50 for the Cats.
Jock read the tap best. Gives it off to Minot. Going towards half forward. Intercepted by Richmond. They've got numbers around the footy here. Markov, one of those, took on a couple, maybe too many. Got the handball away. Myers is there. He's wrapped up. Looked like it might have been a throw, but Essendon able to get out of that situation. Clark inside forward 50. Brown in a one-on-one. Thumped away from him. Unan, haven't called his name too often. Gives a handball off to Hocking. Now a chance for Ham. Can he go for number 2? He gives it off to Bagley instead. And the Bombers get another one. Margin back to 24 points after 15 and a half minutes in the second term.
Definitely much needed goal there for the Bombers, and they just continued to work the ball forward there and had the extra, and they used it all the way to the goal square. It was really good ball movement.
Number of interchanges made after the goal. Players will reset into their starting formations of 6, 6 and 6. Did see one last week, Hilly, where I think Casey didn't want to allow an 18th man on the ground after a goal and went 6-6-5 at one point.
They certainly did, and there was a lot of arm waving,
Yep.
but it's within the rule.
Yeah. There's no rule that you have to have 6 inside 50. You just can't have 7. If you've got 5, that's okay. Back in the middle. Ballard again having a very good second term. Screws around onto the left, half forward. Arts might have been held on to there by Long. Umpire said no. Play on. Thompson's in amongst all that. Ball up, just on the top of 50 here for Richmond.
Fraser Turner's lifted his rate in the second term for Richmond. He's the leading disposal winner on the ground with 13.
Bit of a nothing handball there by Clark. Now Gleeson's going nowhere, tackled immediately.
And for the Bombers, Clark will now join him on 13 after that handball.
Nathan Toner throws it up inside 50 here for Richmond. Stedia wouldn't exactly go astray here. Arts, handball only picked out Clark. Quickly got it away from the danger zone. High ball's going to land in the middle of the Swinburne centre. Brown engaged in battle. Eventually won back by Beasley. Now Morris. He's had a good second term as well. Inside 50. Coates got caught behind Hartley that time. Hartley tried to tap it toward the boundary line.
Deliberate.
That is deliberate. And a free kick for Richmond. Quickly taken in board. Play on. There's a high ball now. He's going to land in the hot spot. Townsend came. No mark was taken. Ground level. Long put down immediately. Hard ball to win here. It's a congested area. Umpire finally calls for a stoppage. About 40 out from goal here for the Tigers, leading by 24 points, approaching time on. Off this top of the table clash in the second term here. At the Swinburne centre. As play restarts. Markov overran the ball. Townsend was involved as well. Another ball up. Last man up was Houlihan. Umpire has spotted a free kick. A couple of niggles and a free kick to go Essendon's way here to be taken by Jake Long. So that's an important reprieve for the Bombers as Long looks to go towards the outer side. Didn't see what that free kick was for. It must have been the niggling that was going on before the ball up was meant to take place. Sibbald, nice passage building here for the Bombers. Towards half forward, it's Bagley. Sends them inside 50. Mosquitoes in the pockets. And read it nicely in flight. Takes the mark before being pushed into the fence. And, well, what's he doing here? He's giving himself...
He
wants to snap it, but that's a very, very acute angle.
He must go back.
Would have had to almost kick it backwards from there. He does go backwards in the end. Tried to find Brown. Had zero confidence in having a shot there, Irving Mosquito. Now it's a hard ball to win here. Myers trying to work his way through. Beasley picks it up. Bangs it onto the right. Didn't go too far. Clark gets it back for the Bombers. Hand pass off to Heppel. Has to work his way through a couple of tacklers. Eventually Myers won it back out. Now the kick's on its way. That's going to miss the lot.
That's
ugly passage that.
Really reckless inside 50 there from the Bombers. Had a player at top of the goal square with plenty of space. Only had to lower the vision there.
And no score as a result.
An opportunity goes begging for Essendon to place even more scoreboard pressure on the Tigers as the long kick there is thumped back inside 50. Here's Mosquito. He'll be confident in this situation and he kicks a ripper. That's the one the Bombers needed. Margin back to 3 goals.
Just more confident there. He's in the flow of his play. Wasn't hemmed on the boundary line. And snapped truly. And as I said before, it's very Cyril Rioli-esque. I know we're only at VFL level at the moment. This is his first season, but he shows some really promising signs of being an elite player down the track.
Peter Mercado did make mention of the fact that he does remind us a little bit of when Anthony McDonald tipping Woody first came on the scene for the Bombers. And he was out of local level at Aberfeldy. And well, it's just as exciting, this one, Irving Mosquito.
He was extremely well built. Mosquito is a little light on at the moment, but he'll grow into his body.
This is only his first year in the system. Ball up. After the restart in the middle, just outside the circles. Haven't seen a bad bounce yet today, Hilly, which I'm very happy with. I don't know why we still do it, but at least we haven't seen a bad one recalled just yet. Jock Myers dispossessed before he could get his kick away. No prior. So play on was the call in the end. Mosquito again goes in very hard, ducked his head. Umpire says it's going to be a free kick going his way in the middle of the ground.
I think we've had one recall so far, but that's all I can...
I wasn't watching them when that one occurred. Interesting handball there. Now Jock, he has to get a hand pass off. Tackled immediately. McKenna gets back onto the right foot. We're in the pocket here for the Bombers. Bagley goes back and takes the mark. Now they're starting to make their move. He kicks a goal here. It's a 2-goal game.
Great mark going back with the flight on that occasion from Bagley, showing great courage, as he always does.
Take a look around the grounds in the AFL after the kick. So, Mark Bagley already has 1 goal in this second term. His first appearance here at VFL level this season. The kick wasn't intended for him. We just sort of replay off if you are watching us on vfl.com.au. Read it nicely in flight. Eyes on the ball, took the mark. Uncontested in the end. As he just wanders in now, kicks on the way. It's a 12-point game at the Swinburne Centre. 5-2-32 Essendon, Richmond 7-2-44 into time on of this second term.
Those AFL scores you were talking about there, Adam. Hawthorn leading Port Adelaide by 24 points midway through the third term in Launceston, and over at Marvel Stadium, North Melbourne, perhaps a galvanised unit this afternoon, leading the Western Bulldogs by 22 points. We hope you're enjoying the coverage wherever you may be watching us on vfl.com.au or listening on SEN2 as well. 7-2-44, Richmond plays 5-2-32, Essendon back in the middle. Lots of numbers around this one. Scholl able to get there first at ground level and win the hard ball. Gives it off to Egmalesi Smith. His kick bounced towards half forward. Gathered well by Street, who did a U-turn, but the good smother came from Jock. Went back, did Street. And how's this one going to be adjudicated? He was pushed in the back. Could have been a free kick for forceful contact below the knees, but instead he got the free kick for a push, and the kick inside 50 was good, and Townsend has the mark.
That was a good mark, Hilly, because there was a lot of players at that landing of the ball. Just stuck in the mitts in the end.
Yeah, I'd say he's had plenty of practice from this pocket. I'll give him a fair chance here with that breeze coming across the ground. Should be able to bend this right to left.
This is the spot the players probably come to after training, Hilly, as you said. They would kick a few of these after training as Townsend comes in, but he's hit it skinny.
It's a little shallow.
Through for one behind. Tigers lead now out to 13 points. 45 plays 32.
Gleeson quickly takes his kick in. It does escape D50. Brown got it to ground level. And now McKenna having a good game as well. Ham, Brown, McKenna. That trio all combining well. Hand passing board. That's where it comes unstuck. Art shrugs off one tackle. Sends the Tigers back towards half forward. Not a great kick though, and long. It takes the relieving mark for the Bombers. Gleeson looking to complete the switch. Interesting ball that one, although putting up the mitts, taking a nice mark was Ridley. He was up against
Inspector Gadget arms. Ridley,
yeah, he was up against Thompson there. Tom Jock now has it for Essendon. Centre wing. Sends the Bombers towards half forward. A goal. Gets it back to a single-digit game, but a nice mark taken by Chol at half-back. Maybe a Chol. Back towards centre wing, and Zirk Thatcher, the only man that went for it.
25 minutes gone, second term. Good fight back from the Bombers after trailing by as many as 5 goals earlier on in this term, as Long plays on, sends it out wide. Really kicked it in between his two teammates there in Myers and Ham. Those two eventually worked it out. Ham gathered, sent it in the McKenna direction, but it was punched away from him. Hocking now gives it back to McKenna, who kept running inside 50. The mark taken by Danny Unan.
Tigers just look like they're slowing a little here. Essendon certainly showing a lot more speed.
Noonan plays on, runs to 45. Has it got the carry? No. Was online, but just didn't have the distance, and Chol does well to get back and take the relieving mark.
Brewer now has it for Richmond. Took the mark in front of Heppel. Sold some candy. Now to kick, looking for Townsend. Ridley there as well for the Bombers. Over both heads, out of play. Boundary throwing just forward of centre wing. Right near the Richmond bench, Craig McRae coaching from the sideline, as is usually the case for him.
Just look a little spent, the Tigers. I think they're looking for half-time here. They've worked really hard with their pressure all in the first half.
Chol grabbed it from the ruck, and then Jock was there and he lost it. Hockings kicked a half forward. No mark was taken there by Markov. Does get it back. Spills out, Canellan. Hand pass out wide. Union's going to collect this one just outside 50. One way to the other. Danny Union. Mosquito's in the right spot.
Play on, play on.
Mark not paid in the end. And he's brought down straight away. It was touched off the boot, according to one of the field umpires.
It was touched by a couple of the, or one of the approaching Tiger players looking to deflect that centering ball.
All right, so we've got a ball up. And Canellan, a very high left foot ball. That's not going to travel 15 metres laterally, so no mark would have been paid. Underground handball by Hocking. Just tried to set something up for Ham. Tried to spin away with the ball, get a look at the sticks, but he couldn't. Now Jock, does he get his kick away? Nicely smothered there by Graham. Butler's high ball. That won't clear D50. It won't be a mark either. Couple of hands on it, Bauman one of them. Union's in the region, Mosquito, now Brown. The snap doesn't come back enough. Minor score for the Bombers, and it's 12 points. Approaching half-time, 5-3-33, Richmond 7-3.
I think that footy might have finished on Brunton Ave too.
A couple of motorists being mindful of the fresh Sharon and don't want to run over.
Egmalesi Smith to take the kick in for the Tigers. 23 disposals last week, probably not quite as prolific so far this afternoon, and he's turned it over to Bowman. Bowman's kick partially smothered though, and now the Tigers can surge off half back. Butler has numbers on the handball, instead wanted to kick towards half forward, had Townsend in the one-on-one with Gleeson, and Gleeson had plenty of support. Zerk Thatcher, one of those supporting players. His kick was really a nothing one though, and now the Tigers' pressure comes. Townsend has it, might have been pushed in the back by Ridley. Umpire says no, and we'll get us ball up right on the paint of 50. 28 and a half minutes gone. Second term, can't be far away from half time. The Tigers lead it by 2 goals. Naish, one way then the other. His left foot kick, that won't be paid a mark as Long and Townsend go at it, and Long just gets a fist to it over the boundary line.
Can't be Long left, so this must be a really important cheer.
Around the grounds, Hilly, the third quarter started at Vic Park. Box Hill have the first goal. They lead it by 14 points, and it's a 49-point ball game early in the third term in Geelong as well. Here comes Canellan, tracked it down and then just cleared the area, but the respite might only be temporary. Richmond has all the numbers through the fingertips of Turner, and then Fletcher tackled over the line by Mosquito. He's working really hard up the ground. Is Irving Mosquito in this contest, and he tackled the man over the boundary line there. Boundary throw in. Can't be long until half time. Ball eluded the ruckman. Butler got first hands to it in the end after it bounced, but wasn't able to do anything with it, and now Long can clear for Essendon. Brown in the one-on-one with Beasley. Did well, did Brown at ground level. Got the handball away, but they've turned it over here, Essendon. Richmond ball in the middle of the ground. Ballard needed to be quick with his hands, but he wasn't quick enough. Canellan gives it off to Brown. Here's a chance for Essendon on the stroke of half-time. Minot takes a bounce, runs to 35, and the siren goes before he kicks the goal. That will not count.
There's a big dust up here on the wing.
There certainly is. A golden opportunity goes begging for Essendon. Minot couldn't have known, but perhaps needed to get the ball on the boot a little bit quicker there, and they're still going with it here, the players. Plenty of numbers in around it now. Unfortunately, there isn't really much the umpires can do when the siren's gone.
It's not quite the Windy Hill brawl.
Dan Jordan not too worried about it, just turned away and walked away from it. Not interested in watching it.
So it's a 12-point lead at half-time for Richmond. A great chance for Trent Minot to reduce that to just one straight kick, but the siren went before he could get the ball away, and eventually the scrum does disperse.
Matt D just needs to settle down here and just let it go.
Yeah, that's right. He was having a few words and wanted to go back in, and eventually one of the coaches just trying to get the Richmond players away. And
Alex Rancey's trying to actually settle down the Richmond players as well.
And eventually calmness comes back at the Swinburne Centre. We've got a great game of footy, guys, a real close, intense game of footy at halftime here at the Swinburne Centre for the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup. It's Richmond 7-3-45, leading Essendon 5-3-33. Throughout halftime, Adam, our listeners will be listening to an interview with Lockie Dixon, I believe, from Coburg.
We'll take a break here, quickly go through some stats, and then we'll go to that interview with Lockie Dixon.
All right, so we'll take the break now. Richmond leader by 12 points.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coach's huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
I'm a digital radio.
And I'm a digital TV. Now, you may remember when TV went digital.
Yes, and you got a lot more channels and a better picture.
Well, buying a digital radio is the same.
Exactly. I've got up to 30 extra radio stations, plus all your old faves, and I sound amazing.
Yeah, but I look amazing.
Yeah, but this is a radio ad, so no one can see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear this station like you have never heard it before,
buy a digital radio.
Head into your nearest retailer and upgrade to digital.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. We'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
It is halftime at the Swinburne Centre in this round 8 clash in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Top of the table clash between Richmond and Essendon. They're playing for the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup, and the Tigers had a very good opening term. Essendon came back a little bit in the score at half-time. Is Richmond 7-3-45, Essendon 5-3-33. Two other games taking place around the grounds there. Into the third term in both of them. So we'll start with Victoria Park, where Box Hill leads Collingwood 6-6-42. Collingwood are 4-5-29, and at GMHBA Stadium, Geelong in control over Coburg, 12-4-76 to 3-9-27. Here it is a 12-point lead in favour of the Tigers. We'll quickly get a look at a couple of the leading ball getters. We'll start with the Tigers. Fraser Turner has 14 for Richmond, then 11 for Beasley Chol, who has 1 goal, 1 and 10 hitouts as well. 10 for Dan Butler, Jack Graham and Jacob Townsend. Derek Egmalesi-Smith has 9 as we go over to the Bombers. Dylan Clark and Heath Hocking both leading the way for the Bombers with 13 each. 12 for Liam McKenna, who's had a good day so far. Jake Long has 11 across half-back, and Myers has 11 as well. Tom Jock and Irving Mosquito who has a goal. Both of those guys are on 10. Let's go to our halftime interview. It's from the VFL Hour on 11:16 SEN earlier in the week. Jack Heverin caught up with Coburg's Lockie Dixon. We'll go to that now before we get set for the second half here at the Swinburne Centre. Jack Heverin having a chat to Lockie Dixon.
Get involved in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Visit vfl.com.au.
That's the way to do it, vfl.com.au. Jump online, find out what the live stream games are each and every week. You can read all of the match reports, all of the good stories coming across not only the Totally Workwear Hard Yakka VFL, but also the Swiss Wellness VFLW. Anthony Stangett's in the studio with me. A very exciting time where a lot of young men are going to just throw caution to the wind, put themselves out there for the mid-season draft, and let's just see what happens. It's got a lot of people talking.
It certainly has, and unbelievable that 115 VFL-listed players have put their name up for the draft, and 18 of those players coming from the club that of the next man we're going to speak to.
And that man is Lachlan Dixon, who is going to be attending the fitness testing tomorrow. All part of the journey, and you just never know. Lockie, thanks for your time, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
18 of your boys all headed along. You could probably all carpool together.
There's only the two of us actually going to the screening tomorrow, which is me and Sam Weatherson. So a few have put their hands up, but only a few have been nominated to go along to the screening tomorrow.
Have you ever done anything like this before? If you have, I'm guessing it would have been a while.
No, I haven't, to be honest. I obviously wasn't nominated to do any testing or anything like that last year, so new experience.
Lockie, what's it been like with all the talking about the mid-season draft? Obviously, Sammy Lawson's name's been bandied around for a while now. You're starting to get some of the media attention now as well, but what's it been like for yourself?
I don't really worry about it too much, to be honest. Head to work Monday to Friday and then head off to training and play footy on the weekend. So whatever sort of happens outside of that, I can't really have too much influence on. But so it just is what it is.
With winning the co-winner of the Best and Fairest last year, what sort of changes have you had? Number one, to your kind of goals for your football, but also number two, that different role at Coburg this season on field?
I think just the goal, throughout my football has just been to play at the highest level I can. And obviously that's at Coburg at the moment, which has been a lot of fun. And then obviously this year I've moved more and kind of experimented with it a bit towards the back end of last year, playing in the midfield, and then once the season was over, had a chat with Patch and decided to play more in the midfield this year, and it's been good fun. Panned out that way. I haven't had to go back to defence, so I've been enjoying it.
Tell us about Patch, the coach. I'm hearing a lot of good things coming out of Coburg about the way he's going about it.
Yeah, he's really good. Obviously, he's got a lot of football knowledge, and he's obviously been through the AFL system. But he's just a really good communicator. Relates well to all, from coaches, medical staff to players, and he's able to get his message across really well. So, and that's the most important part.
Just want to go back to a point that you mentioned before about you go to work and then you go to footy training. Sometimes we here at SEN we just talk so much about the AFL that we forget that there is a real life out there. What does that look like for you? What do you do for a job, and how do you manage to fit it all in?
So I work for an IT company in project management. So sort of leave home probably on training nights. I don't know, about quarter to 7, and then kind of in at work at sometime between 8:30, and then finish up at 5, and you head off to football training and sort of get there as early as you can and try and fit in as many extras as you can. Sort of outside of 6 to 8 when you're doing obviously the main session. So, and then you just sort of do it over 18 weeks, I suppose.
And what sort of understanding does your workplace have in regards to your football outside of work?
To be honest, they're not really football people, so they which is good. They don't ask many questions about my football. So I just kind of do my work and try not to do too much overtime and get to training on time. But they're pretty oblivious to me really playing football, to be honest.
And Lockie, since you've joined Coburg from the Eastern Football League, where you were previously at Norwood, what are some of the areas of your game that you think you've been able to develop playing at State League football?
I think not too much has really changed coming from Norwood and then obviously over to Coburg. I think it's just more about learning a different way of playing. So, at Norwood it'd be very much sort of one-on-one, man-on-man in defence, where at Coburg, you do a lot more work on pressing and guarding space, and I guess you just do a lot more work on sort of the finer details. So I think that's the biggest shift from local to into Coburg is just working on, I guess, and fine tuning your game a little bit more.
Lockie, take us back to last week. Was it the first quarter that really cost you against Williamstown? After that, it was pretty good, but it was just the head start that you gave them.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing on the weekend. It's been a bit of a theme for us throughout the season. Is just one quarter getting blown away, whether it's the first or second, third, fourth. Just been one quarter each week where I guess our standards just drop and teams really cash in against us. So it's cost us definitely a couple of games, and you can't afford to give a good Williamstown side an 8-goal head start. So it was definitely disappointing.
And Lockie, the Coburg Football Club plays a major role in the local community. I think you've got that local community back behind the club, the membership over 1,000 this year, but also some of the kind of themed rounds and events that you hold. You got the Battle of Bell Street coming up June 9, where you're playing what will be deemed on the day the Preston Bull Ants taking on Coburg, and a theme jumper for that. But also the way over recent years that the Coburg Football Club's celebrated NAIDOC Week, and it must be a great thrill to be able to pull on the NAIDOC Week jumper that you have designed for the club and take part in rounds like that, and showing how kind of football clubs can do so much more off the field as they do on as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, we're pretty much dependent on our supporter base, which is a really diverse group across the Moreland sort of area. So it's always good to get our supporters involved as much as we can, and the support this year's been really good. So to have the membership we do and the support we have each week, makes a massive difference to the club.
Lockie, good luck. You're off to Geelong this week. We wish you all the best, and good luck for what's coming up in the next couple of days as well.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Lockie Dixon from the Coburg Footy Club joining us on the VFL Hour. He's pretty relaxed. He's pretty chilled, considering what might happen in the next few days. You just never know.
Yeah, exactly. And just to explain to our listeners, I think it's 25 players coming into a medical testing day tomorrow. A number of those from the VFL, as Lachlan said himself, Sammy Lowson, also Ray Canellan, who's at Essendon this year.
Yeah, he's had a good year.
Frank Anderson from Northern Blues, and Mitch Hibbett from the Williamstown Football Club. So the AFL clubs will get to do medical screenings on these players tomorrow, and and then it all comes down to next Monday. Clubs get to finalise their list by midday next Monday. We'll find out next Monday afternoon how many spots are available, and then the mid-season draft next Monday night.
I would love to see Mitch Hibbett get a go. I was a huge fan of him as a junior for Tassie in the under-18s, and just for one reason or another, it just didn't quite click first time around, but I reckon he's got something to offer. So
just 22 years old.
Correct. He's a perfect age.
So half-time here at the Swinburne Centre, 7-3, 45 Richmond, Essendon 5-3 33. The two teams will be making their way back out onto the park shortly around the grounds. Two other games taking place in the Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL. It's Geelong 14-5-89 leading Coburg 4-9-33. That's a margin of 66 points, and the close one is at Victoria Park, Box Hill 7-6-48, Collingwood 5-6-36 as the Bombers make their way back out onto the Swinburne Centre. We will take a break here and come back with the start of the third term. Richmond 7-3-45, Essendon 5-3-33. Third quarter coming up right after this.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
It's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
Where you go?
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL Club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coach's huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Stuart Appleby has come from 7 strokes behind.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Not far away from the start of the third term here at the Swinburne Centre. Top of the table clash in the Hard Jacker Totally Workwear VFL. Richmond 7-3-45. Essendon are 5-3-33. All single goal kickers for the Tigers. Jacob Townsend, Jack Graham, Jake Arts, maybe Chol, Ben Miller, Lockie Street and Will Coates all have singles. 2 goals for Mark Bagley for the Bombers, and then singles for Irving Mosquito, Braden Riley and the skipper Aaron Hempel. My name's Adam Sarri-Coglu alongside Michael Peppicelli. A much improved output by the Bombers in the second term, but we do think they had the scoring, and it doesn't feel windy from our broadcast position, but Healy was out in the middle of the ground at quarter time and said the breeze was a bit more stiff, and we did see some balls hold up in the breeze in that second term going toward the northern end of the ground.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. As you said, Essendon probably kicking to what we believe to be that scoring end in the second term. They did manage to kick the 4 goals won, but the only problem for them was the Tigers kicked 3 goals won at the non-scoring end. So the margin is 12 goals in favour of 12 points, I should say, in favour of Richmond at half-time. Hilly, we've got you on the boundary. How's the wind out there? Is it still going the same way as it was in that first half?
It certainly is. It'll still be about a 3.
So still a couple of technical difficulties with Hilly's mic, but from what I was able to hear there, it sounds like it might still be a 2 to 3 goal breeze heading towards the Brunton Avenue end of the ground. The right of screen, if you are watching our stream on vfl.com.au. So perhaps the Bombers need to play this one a little bit more defensively in this third term. Hopefully the Tigers don't get too far ahead heading into the final quarter. Adam, you've got some around the ground scores for us from the VFL.
See if I can squeeze this in before the third term's underway. Box Hill by 7 points over Collingwood, and Geelong by 51 over Coburg. Approaching three-quarter time in both. Here is Michael Peppercelli with the third term here.
Here at the Swinburne Centre, it is Richmond leading by 12 points. Just gotten underway here in the third term. Ball not coming out. We'll get a secondary stoppage. Myers on the bottom of the pack on that occasion. Scholl wins the hit out, but it was only as far as Ham. His kick smothered though. Now a chance for Manor for Richmond to go forward. He was dispossessed. The kick will go inside 50 for Richmond anyway. D running back with the flight of the ball. Couldn't quite take the mark. Long under all sorts of pressure. Gives a handball off to Zerk Thatcher. Now Ridley gives it back to D right on the last line of defence. This kick needs to sit up well for Sibbald. It does. And the Bombers get out of danger. The mark taken by Houlihan.
Right on the paint of 50 where it meets the boundary line here in front of Glen Hill. The kick looking for Brown. Takes the mark in front of Beasley. Still left half back here, the Bombers. Brown taking his time to dispose. Lobs it towards half forward here on the right boot. Bauman got put into the deck by Chol. Caulfield's handball didn't quite work out for Egmalesi Smith, and a ball up. On the logos here on this broadcast side of the ground. Tigers by 2 goals, looking to stay undefeated and go to 7-0 in the VFL. Where they got to the grand final 2 years ago and lost the Classic in heartbreaking circumstances to Port Melbourne. Bombers have been to the grand final here in the VFL since moving away from the old alignment with Bendigo. As the ball's heading boundary side here. Picked up by Credlin, but put over the line immediately by Brown. And we've got a boundary throw in. Left half forward here. So the Bombers need to really get this first goal of this third term and make things interesting. Tigers have the scoring end in this third term. Umpire throws it in. Chol in front position, does grab it. The right foot ball might have been off the side of the boot. It's heading boundary side. Gleeson worried out of it by Ballard. Having a good game there. Now Gleeson wins it back. Long dispossessed by Butler. Slung in the tackle. And we've got a boundary throw in. Right half forward here for Richmond. 2.5 minutes into the third term as Ballard says hello to Jake Long. He's wearing a different jumper, Jake Long. Number 50 now. He's Long. We'll keep an eye on that one. Michael Peppercelli as the umpire brings this one back in. There's a free kick. Downfield umpire has spotted something in the ruck contest, and it's going to go Richmond's way to be taken by Townsend.
Had a good opening half, did Jacob Townsend. Kicked 1 goal 1. Called to move on, and that's what he does. He sends it long towards the pocket. The tall timber won't get there. And that's a big tackle laid. And we'll get a ball up. Arts was the Richmond player who had it. And he was dumped. It's going to be a boundary throw, ball up, I should say. Just inside the boundary line. Miller won the hit out for Richmond, but that ball not coming out. 3.5 minutes gone. Third term. 7-3 plays 5-3 at the Swinburne Centre. One way then the other for Manor. Sends it high to the hot spot, but the ball cleared the pack. And the mark taken for Essendon on the last line of defence by Zerk Thatcher. And he goes short for Myers, still inside defensive 50. Had a huge game last week, did David Myers, but it's been a little bit quieter so far in this one. Good mark taken on the outer side by Ham.
Looking inboard, there's not much on offer. Then he looks down the line, not much more. Asked to play on, has to get around the man on the mark. Got himself into a little bit of danger and held on to. So another free kick for the Bombers. Not sure about that. Canellan ran himself into danger. There were 2 Tigers there. Making a mess of this at the moment are Essendon. Long's hand pass out wide. Now a high ball goes inside 50. Over the head of Bagley. The bounce favoured Brown. Gets it to boot. High ball toward the square. Hocking couldn't quite take the mark. High pressure ball here for the Tigers to navigate. Ball's cleared out. 1-on-1. Arts, 2 bites of the cherry. Took a nice mark against Gleeson. And they're out of danger, the Tigers. No score yet in this third term. 12-point lead. The kick was looking for Coates. The fist there by Hartley. Hot ball to win here. Ballard again. Got himself involved. Manor just quickly got it towards half forward. Brewer is going to pick it up on the bounce. Nice hand pass. Butler needs to get away from the tacklers. Kicks on the way. Bouncing into the post. 7-4-46. Playing 5-3-33. 13-point lead for the Tigers. 5 gone third term. The game is coming alive here at the Swinburne Centre.
That was exciting stuff there. Butler just not able to finish it. Zerk Thatcher marks Hartley's kick in. We'll get it back, will Hartley. His kick is long, but missing the target. And the mark taken for Richmond by Turner. Eventually moves it on, sends it long and high, inside 50. Plenty of tall timber flew. Coates was there for Richmond, got hands to it. Now at ground level, lots of numbers around it. Quick handball shot out. High pressure stuff here for the Bombers. They need to be good. Eventually Brewer able to gather, and he's been caught holding the footy.
Stiff.
Much to the dismay of Glenn Hill on the boundary. Mosquito now has it for Essendon. He's trying to combine with Long, but this is where it all comes unstuck. Collier Dawkins just pops it over the top. He has Butler on his own at right half forward, and he takes the mark. Just wants to slow it down for the time being. The Bombers getting plenty of numbers back, and eventually forced to go backwards to Naish. 31 disposals last week for Paddy Naish. Hasn't had as much of the footy this afternoon. Kick is long. Chol's there. So too Coates. Couldn't bring it down. Chol at ground level. Gives a handball off. The snap is coming around by Arts, but not enough. And through for a minor score. Tigers doing all the attacking early on. 7-5-47, plays 5-3-33, 7 minutes gone third term.
Next goal in this one is absolutely massive as Hartley's kick in finds Long. And he was told to play on for some reason. Butler puts him out of bounds and in fact wins the free kick for holding the ball. No mark for Jake Long. Wearing the number 50, Josh Tynan would have been wearing had he played today.
Had he just come off his line there? Was that the reason?
Not sure, Hilly. I'm really not sure. Butler's kick to the top of the square. Chance for the Tigers to extend their lead. Chol ripped off it, overrun by Brewer. Silvestro's snap goes very high, not very far, and it's forced through for a rush behind in the end. 7-6-48 to 5-3-33. 7.5 gone in this third term, and we can start again for the Bombers. Hartley looking toward the outer side this time. Long kick, clears defensive 50. Nice mark taken by Houlihan.
We hope you're enjoying the coverage. Round 8 in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. They've turned it over here, the Bombers. Going inside 50 now, Richmond. The ball put into the path of Arts, but the boundary line just beat him to it. Kick needed to be a little bit better in that situation. Arts would have run into an open goal. But as it is, it's a boundary throw in a dangerous position for the Bombers. The back line needs to hold strong under this Richmond barrage. 7-6-48, plays 5-3-33, 8.5 minutes gone third term. Big pack of players around this ball, and the umpire calls for it. It's all taking place in the left forward pocket for the Richmond Footy Club. Just a nice drop punt away from Richmond Station as the ball comes inside for Richmond. D trapped it well on the half volley. Kick to Long needs to be perfect, and it is. He takes the mark. Zerk Thatcher running ahead for him, and that's where he goes with the kick. So they've managed to clear defensive 50 here, the Bombers. What comes next? That'll help, a 50-metre penalty. Dan Butler just encroaching into that protected zone. And the Richmond players smart enough to get out of the way. Silvestro it was. So it'll be Zerk Thatcher to take it right in front of our broadcast position here at the Swinburne Centre. Just pops it short to Clark. Kick and a half from goal. Doesn't have too many leads coming his way, so he just has to hoist it high and hope for the best. Plenty of numbers there. Brown won't get there. Punched away from him. Here comes Myers. He gives a handball off. Over the top now for Essendon. Brown can snap. Smothered by Credlin. Great defensive effort. And the crowd signals its appreciation. Out of bounds.
Jack Dyer stand is absolutely packed here. The fans getting ready for dream time at the G, taking in some hard jacket, totally workwear VFL footy. The winner of this not only gets the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup, they get top spot on the ladder. Currently occupied by the Tigers. Union pushed out of play.
We have some three-quarter time scores, Adam, from around the grounds. Box Hill leading Collingwood by a point at Victoria Park. And over at GMHBA Stadium, it's the Cats leading the Lions by 51 points.
Brown's going to contest the ruck here against Miller. Almost won it down to Union. Had to go back and fetch. Credlin with the tackle. Some good defensive acts by Credlin in the last couple of minutes. Only his third game of the year. So a ball up in the right forward pocket here for the Bombers. Close to capacity here at the Swinburne Centre. Left foot ball. It's going to stay in play, take a bounce, go out of play. Boundary throw in front of one of the many food vans here at the Swinburne Centre. The old Punt Road Oval, Punt Road side of the ground. 15-point lead for the Tigers. They win, they go to 7-0. And they'll next take on North Melbourne. We're in action tonight at the VU Whitten Oval against Footscray. Goats, hand pass out. Canellan gets the ball towards half forward. Brown, two Tigers there though, and getting back was Turner, taking the mark for the Tigers. Just inside defensive 50. Asked to hurry up down the line. Graham provided the option, takes the mark. Jack Graham goes in board. Tempo footy. Combines with his fellow 2017 Premiership player in Townsend.
Roll, jockey. Roll back, jockey.
Behind centre wing.
Roll back, jockey.
Townsend towards half forward. Scholl only had one arm to work with. Ground level ball here. That one's not coming out. So a bit of a lull at the moment around the Swinburne Centre. The game is alive, but if Richmond get the next goal, it might just take a little bit of sting out of it.
12 minutes gone, third term. Next goal, as Adam said, is absolutely crucial in this contest. The Tigers kicking to the scoring end in this third term. The Bombers will be hoping to stem the bleeding so they can make a bit of a comeback with the scoring end in the last quarter as Gleeson clears. Gives a handball off. Good sidestep by Hocking. Nice movement there from one of the oldest men out there on the field, but they've turned it over here, the Bombers. Graham shoots it over the top to Thompson. He can give it off to Ballard. Now he's a chance for Butler. He's a classy finisher. This one is coming back a little bit too far. Through for one behind. That one was very close. Butler is peppering in this third term. He's kicked two behind. The Tigers now leaded by 16 points. Hartley to kick it in. And he finds a short target in the pocket. Called to go and eventually just pops it long up the line. Bagley from 4 deep did well to get a hand to it and halve that contest out of bounds.
Butler's the third 2017 AFL Premiership player out on the ground today alongside Graham and Townsend. Boundary throw in. Just between wing and half forward here for the Tigers. Nothing will come of that. As I said, gentlemen, it's just a bit of a lull around the Swinburne Centre at the moment. 16-point lead for the Tigers. 13.5 minutes into the third term. And we're still waiting for the quarter's first goal. Another stoppage.
Fraser Turner still the leading disposal winner on the ground. He has 18 for the Tigers, and for Essendon it's Dylan Clark leading the way with 16.
Ham gets a high ball towards the wing. Brown ground level out to Union. Bombers going into attack. Union just boots it inside 50. Pretty empty. Picked up there and spinning away from the tackling pressure nicely was Fletcher, and he finds Chol on centre wing. Kicked the first goal of the game, did maybe a Chol towards half forward. Graham can't quite take the mark. It spills out of play. Right on 50. Some luxury to have, isn't it, Hilly, when you've got 3 AFL Premiership players out on the ground?
It certainly is. Certainly is. They've got got some experience littered amongst their 11 Richmond listed players today. Really good experience.
And that's despite the injury crisis, if you want to put it that way, suffered by the AFL Tigers. There's plenty of depth at Tigerland. This handball intercepted and the Bombers can clear defensive 50, but it's going to come straight back.
It's getting very dark here at ground level. Wouldn't mind seeing the lights go on.
The mark taken by Naish, too far out to score, but he's going to hoist it high. It's long and it's high in the goal square. Big mark taken. Great stuff, and the Tigers are going to get another one. Graham was one of the smallest players in that pack, and he somehow emerged with the footy.
He rose high above the pack, didn't he? Great leap. Great to see him back out there.
You can see it on the replay now if you're watching our stream on VFL.com.au. Graham just read it better than everyone else, despite the height disadvantage. As he comes in, he pokes it home from point-blank range, and the Tigers get the first of the third term. It only took 15 and a half minutes, but Richmond have built a good lead for themselves. 8-7-55 they move to now. Essendon still sitting on 5-3-33. That was their halftime score.
Jack Graham becomes Richmond's first multiple goal kicker out on the ground today. 22-point ball game. On track to remain undefeated in the VFL. There's Goats, gets ready to go up against Chol in the ruck. Umpire Nathan Toner to put it down. Bouncing has been good today, and it stays that way. Doesn't favour either ruckman, and somehow Goats want it down to Chol if you can work that out. Up towards half forward for the Tigers. Fisted away, Ham, Ridley, off half back, looking to set something up now through Canellan. Takes the mark, kept on going towards half forward. Bagley, too far out to score, got around one potential tackler. Bombers looking to go deep. Hocking's down there at the moment, but it's fisted away from him, and it's a boundary throw in. Good pressure by Fletcher. Right forward pocket, punt road side of the ground. 17 minutes into this third term. Bombers need the next one. Umpiring to bring it in. Mitch Brown's going to contest the ruck against Chol here. Throwing did favour Chol. It's heading boundary side, and Noonan was not interested in trying to keep it in play. It's been another jumper change, by the way, for the Tigers, and for the Bombers. I'm trying to work out who that is, Hilly. 61.
61.
It's not Wilson Berry, because he's playing at Keilor today.
He certainly is. Ball comes spinning back into play. 17 and a half minutes gone. Mosquito sharked it, but tackled immediately by Chol and Naish as well. So he wasn't going anywhere.
It looks like McKenna to me. I think it's Liam McKenna now in 61.
We'll keep an eye on that.
A few bloody players at half-time, so there might be a few jumper changes because of that.
Free kick, Essendon's way. And it's going to be Mosquito to have a shot at goal. So this could be a big moment for the Bombers, just to stay within touching distance as we approach time on in the third term. Now, the set shot isn't necessarily Mosquito's favourite way to kick a goal. We saw him a little bit timid on an attempt in the second term, but that was a much sharper angle. He'll kick from about 45. He gets close to the man on the mark, and he keeps it low, but he keeps it straight. Essendon still in it at the Swinburne Centre. Mosquito gets his second, and the Bombers move to 6-3-39. Richmond 8-7-55. That's Essendon's first goal of this third term, and it comes 19 minutes in.
They certainly are still in it. It's one of these games where it's been a game of momentum, and the Tigers have got out to a 5-goal lead there in the second quarter, and then the Bombers just scrape their way back into the game, and you can feel they're still up and about. They're only, what are we looking at, 16 points down at the moment, so they're still well and truly in the contest.
I don't think, Healy, we have a scoring end anymore either.
The wind has just dropped. It certainly has on this side of the ground. You can still see the trees moving on the other side of the ground, but it's not as strong as what it was earlier, which might mean rain is on the way.
I'll tell you what, outstanding bouncing by our umpires today. The Bombers go inside 50, but a very nice mark he's taken there by Markov, and he's quick to get things moving for Silvestro. Pressured by Long. What does the umpire say here? Free kick against Jake Long. Late to the contest, according to Nathan Toner, and a free kick to be taken by Silvestro. Right half back. As Long comes off and Gleeson's back out on the park for the Bombers. Silvestro. Choles in the contest here. Bowman as well, front man. And the umpire is going to cross his arms. Dead ball. Is that what that was, Hilly?
You have to give it to the man in front. It's clear rule in my eyes.
The umpire's gone jump ball in the end. Clark met solidly there. I think the tackler was Townsend. Ball up. As Joel comes off for a rest, Miller back out on the ground for the Tigers. 16-point ball game at the Swinburne Centre, approaching three-quarter time. We've just dipped into time on of the third as Ballard sees it out of play once more. Around the grounds, Collingwood by 11 points and Geelong by 58, although Coburg's just kicked one back, so make that 52. Boundary throw in here. Miller won the tap down, but down to the wrong man. Ballard's tackle on Clark was effective. Myers gets his hand past to Jock. Now Clark doesn't want to look forward, and eventually does. Goes with the left foot pass, the centre half forward here, over the head of Bagley. Egmalesi Smith missed the fist. Picked up there by Markov. High pressure ball here, Clark again involved. Silvestro somehow extracted it. Gets the snap back up towards half forward, but Jock's in the right spot for Essendon.
Jock takes the mark, has a man on the outer side. It's Gleeson, and he finds him with the kick, and the next link in the chain now is Brown. He'll be kicking it to where he'd rather be. He's going to pop it up. The tall target is Bowman, but the big fly at the back came for the Tigers. Now at ground level, they've got a problem here, the Richmond defence. Perhaps a hold on Hocking. Umpire letting it go, and eventually the Tigers defender is able to clear, but it might be coming straight back. Big pack. No one able to bring it down. Still plenty of numbers around this footy. It's a real scramble at the moment. Eventually Richmond able to clear. They need to be careful here, does Silvestro. Got it away before Jock could push him off his kick, and bounce set up nicely for Brewer. They've got a 4-on-1 here, the Tigers. They need to work this out, but a slight fumble has cost them a little bit of time and space, and the Essendon Cavalry came to halve the stoppage. No, they've given away a free kick. It's going to be Thompson's ball. Just outside forward 50. Yet to kick a goal this afternoon, Charlie Thompson, after a couple last week. You sense this might be out of his range, but he's looking pretty confident.
He certainly is. He's just thrown some grass up in the end to see if he's got that assistance. It has died right off compared to what it was in the first half, but I'd just about back him in from here.
So Glenn Hill's guaranteeing the goal as Thompson comes in. Will have the distance, in fact, but didn't have the accuracy. Through for a minor score. 8-8-56 now, Richmond. Essendon 6-3-39. 23 minutes gone, third term.
Class A moz there by Glenn Hill as Hartley's kick in. That's actually marked by Houlihan. Did well on that outer side. Punt road side of the ground right by Richmond Station. 23 minutes now into the third term as Houlihan goes down the line. Well populated Hill on that outer wing. The fist now Bauman does keep it alive. Sibbald's hand pass inboard. Ham. Clark gets it off Minot. Chipper inside 50. Nice passage by the Bombers, and Heath Hocking takes the mark directly in front. Kicks the goal here. We have an 11-point ball game. In fact, he's gone wide. And the mark is now taken. Is that Zirk Thatcher? I think that's who we've got. It is.
Buddha, next one.
Margin hasn't been 11 points since the first quarter.
Buddha, next one.
So this is a big kick coming up. Just looking around the grounds, Michael. I'm liking what I'm seeing south of the Bass Strait. Kicks on the way. Zirk Thatcher got too close to the man on the mark, and that's going to be a behind for Essendon. 6-4-40 playing 8-8-56. Approaching three-quarter time here.
Kick in taken by Naish, barely the 15 to Egmalesi Smith. In fact, it wasn't his call to go. Kick in ball was a dangerous one, but Turner up to the task and takes a good mark. Richmond can relieve the pressure for the time being. 24 and a half minutes gone, third term. Coates did well to just get rid of his opponent in D and take a strong mark. Gave the handball off to Naish, but they've turned it over. Zerk Thatcher has it. The man who had that shot at goal before gives it off to Clark, and now Gleeson running through the middle of the Swinburne centre. Sends it high inside forward 50. Bagley was there. Got a hand to it to halve the contest. Credlin did well for Richmond. These Tigers defenders have held up well all afternoon, and there's another example of it. They clear. Butler's on his own on the broadcast wing, and he takes the mark. Thought about going. Now he's off his line. Called to play on. He reckons he can take on Zerk Thatcher. Decides not to. Kicks it long instead. Underneath it there was Ballard. Did well to back it in, and now here comes Thompson at ground level, and he's found a teammate all on his own, and Arts can stroll in and ram it home just. Messy stuff from the Tigers, but it comes off in the end. 9-8-62, plays 6-4-40. That is goal number 2 for Jake Arts.
Really important goal there for the Tigers, because the Bombers have been coming for the last 10 or 15 minutes, and that's a real steady. It gives them nearly a 4-goal lead, and I think you need that going into the last. It still is an advantage. I can feel that wind coming up at the moment, so it still is an advantage to be kicking to the right of screen, the Brunton Avenue end of the ground. So the Bombers will be coming home with a slight advantage, so you need every bit of a 4-goal lead going into the last.
As you can see on our replay, if you're watching us on VFL Live on VFL.com.au, Arts did all he could to miss that kick, but luckily just snuck it home.
He wasn't in 2 minds, he was in about 5 minds, I think, but eventually did boot the goal. Here's Oleg Markov, and he's going for a dash. Takes 2 bounces, does Markov. Didn't want to take a third. Kicks to the hot spot, and going up is Gleeson. Taking the relieving mark for Essendon.
Almost picked Gleeson out there. Was it a good idea to centre the ball, but he really didn't lower the eyes enough to find a target. Every
Every passage of play from half-back is being pushed toward the outer side by the Bombers at the moment. Now Bagley to Brown. He's been told to play on Brown, so he goes around the corner, half-forward ball here. No mark was taken by Sibbald, now trying to spin away from dangerous Caulfield. Brown coughed it up. Bagley missed his handball for Irving. Mosquito, and Tigers get it back. Nice tackle there, out the back it comes. Fletcher, we're inside 50 for the Tigers, 2-on-2. Off hands it comes, just overrun there by Coates, and it's through for a minor score. 9-9-63, playing 6-4-40, 23-point ball game. The Bombers will have the scoring end in the final term.
2 goals, 6 for Richmond in this third term. They've been inaccurate. There have been a couple of rushed as well, but they've certainly squandered a few opportunities as Gleeson kicks to no one in particular, and Markov, the only man there to mop up for Richmond. Drew the man and then gave the handball off to Egmalesi Smith. Brewer needs to be good in this one-on-one. He did okay, but Minot did better. Now Heppel gives it off to Myers. His kick over the head of its intended target in McKenna. Fooled Egmalesi Smith as well, and then Markov turns on the Jets and gets that right foot inside forward 50. But the siren goes before anything can happen after that. And at 3/4 time here at the Swinburne Centre, it's Richmond 9-9-63, leading Essendon 6-4-40. It's all set up for a thrilling final term, and we'll have it for you after this short break.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it, doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL, live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
Where you go?
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations, plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Stuart Appleby has come from 7 strokes behind.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Three-quarter time in what is the biggest game of the year so far in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. For top spot on the ladder, it is Richmond and Essendon, and the Tigers lead by 23 points at three-quarter time. 9-9-63, Essendon 6-4-40. And a gloomy Swinburne Centre. A massive crowd here getting ready for dream time at the G, which is also a massive game. My name's Adam Sarikoglu. Glenn Hill is our boundary rider. He's currently in the huddles. We're going to get Craig McRae, the Richmond coach, out of that. My co-commentator is Michael Peppicelli. He has some stats to three-quarter time thanks to the VFL app.
Certainly do, Adam. And the Bombers have actually had quite a bit more of the footy, but they just haven't been able to take advantage of their opportunities going inside 50. Richmond lead the inside 50s 37-36, but a big scoring shot differential, 18 for the Tigers and just the 10 for the Bombers. It was something Dan Jordan spoke about at quarter time with our very own Glenn Hill, but something they haven't quite been able to rectify over the ensuing 2 quarters. They've laid more tackles as well, so it has been quite even around the ball, but Richmond just making it count on the scoreboard. Looking at the player stats now, Dylan Clark, the leading disposal winner on the ground. He has 21 for the Bombers, perhaps not really much of a surprise. He is averaging 24.5 disposals each game for the season. And for Richmond, Fraser Turner leading the way with 19. Abior Choles had 16 as well, Adam. He's taken 5 marks, kicked a goal, and 13 hitouts playing as a number 1 ruckman. So he's having himself an excellent game. And Adam, I believe you've got some around the ground scores for us.
Yeah, 2 games that started a half hour before our one here in the VFL today. Let's go to Victoria Park first, where it's Collingwood now leading Box Hill after the Hawks led for much of that game. So 17 minutes into the final term, it's Collingwood 11-7-73 leading Box Hill 7-9-51. Andrew Gallucci, Glover and Will Kelly all have 2 goals for Collingwood. For Box Hill, Ross has 4, and then singles to Mullinger, McHugh, Walker and Jay Roughhead. The other game is at GMHBA Stadium between Geelong and Coburg, and Nathan Kruger is having a wonderful day at the office. He has 6 goals. Geelong has 17. 17-10, 112 leading Coburg. 7-11-53. Schlensog has 3. Tarsa has 3 as well for the Cats. And for Coburg, it's Sam Lawson, who's having a very good season. 2 goals, and Peter McAvoy also has 2, the ex-Box Hill Hawk. This is a very long huddle that Craig McRae is conducting. Essendon are in position and ready to go to start this final term. Hilly will be looking to get Craig McRae for us. Looking ahead, there is a game tonight at the VU Whitten Oval between Footscray and North Melbourne. And then tomorrow, the TV game, Sandringham hosting the Northern Blues at Trevor Barker Beach. No, sorry, that's at Marvel Stadium, I should say, as a lead-up game. And then we have Williamstown taking on Casey, 2 p.m. at Downer Oval. Point Jellybrand and Frankston on the other side of the bay will be hosting Werribee, Port Melbourne, enjoying the week off.
You mentioned Sam Lowson before there, Adam. Might be his last game for Coburg for a little while. Plenty of buzz about him being picked up in the mid-season draft, which is taking place on Monday evening. So all the best to him, and of course all the other State League players as well who find themselves eligible. This Richmond huddle still going. Craig McRae's got them in nice and
If
tight.
they're not careful, they can incur a fine for this if they don't get out of their huddle in time.
They certainly can. And
we might not be able to get Craig McRae because the umpires might just start the final team. Of course they won't, but they could make a statement.
Eventually the huddle does disperse, and now we need to wait for the crowd to get off the ground.
Yeah, thanks for that. Craig, a really great performance so far, and you've got the 4-goal lead going into three-quarter time, going out of three-quarter time. Well, pressure in the first 3 quarters has been immense.
Yeah, actually the numbers say it's probably the contrary. I think, the pressure around the contest, they're not tackling that well, so we reinforced that at half-time. Yeah, we just wanted to get the game out of turns. Just felt we went away from a little bit what we want to do. And credit to them, they're a good team. So, we want to control the structure in this game.
You must be happy with the ball movement so far, the transition from defence into attack.
Yeah, when we get the ball back off turnover, we're certainly playing some good footy at the moment. The guys are playing the role really well.
Beautiful. Thanks for your time on VFL Live. Thanks, Craig.
Just noticing Steve Morris iced up for the game, Hilly. Some tape, maybe right quarter, I think I saw.
Out of the contest for the remainder of the game with a hamstring injury.
Hamstring, okay. I think that's the only real injury we've had for today, Hilly. We haven't had too many injury updates from you today.
Yeah, we've been really lucky. It just sustained a real late one, unfortunately, for Stephen Morris in that quarter. So that's the end of him. He's done for the game, and the Tigers down in rotation. But shouldn't worry them at the moment with the confidence that they're playing with. Very gloomy at ground level at the moment, and I really do think the lights should be looked at. It's quite dark in the outer sides of the ground.
So the Bombers did have a good second term. They won the second term against Richmond, kicking to the Brunton Avenue end of the ground. They now have that luxury here in the final term. But you're looking at the flags at the moment on the outer side there, Michael Peppicelli. They're actually blowing toward the northern side of the ground. So it is really swirling around the Swinburne Centre, still waiting for the last of the spectators to make their way off the ground. So this has been an extended three-quarter time break. If you're listening to us on SEN2, we are on air today until 5:15. So we'll have this last quarter, a couple of post-game interviews, maybe the song. Right now it's the Tigers leading by 23 points, looking to remain undefeated. Here's Michael Peppicelli.
So what do the Bombers have? They need to get going early in this final term, but that won't help as Joel sends the Tigers into attack. Off hands, Butler read it best. Got the handball away. Here comes Coates, one way then the other. Shoots the handball out, but turnover. Essendon defence holding up for the moment. Naish dropped the mark, and now here comes Mosquito. Going for a run on the outer side. Bounce, got around an opponent, took a second. He could go all the way here, Irving Mosquito. He gets to 50. The bounce will be all important. But it's through for a behind. Electrifying stuff from Irving Mosquito, and that would have been the dream start for Essendon. Just the one behind, though. The margin now 22 points.
Derek Egmalesi-Smith bringing this ball in for the Tigers. Actually got told to hurry up, was undecided. Now a helicopter ball, not marked in the end by Ballard. It fell out the back to Miller, but Minot making sure Miller's going nowhere, and we've got a ball up. And every week he gives us something to be excited about, Irving Mosquito. Already has 2 goal of the year contenders that we've called right here on Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL Live. Here he is again. Hand pass off to Long, standing start, shanked it. Might still work out okay, it does. Bauman takes the mark for Essendon. Got a very good look at goal. The kick is straight. Is it long enough? It is. And there's a pulse for Essendon. 7:5:47, playing 9:9:63, a minute and a half into the final term.
Nice way for Riley Bowman to make an impact as the 23rd man this afternoon. He's done a few good things around the ground, but that was a spectacular finish. As you can see on the replay, if you're watching us on VFL.com.au, just summed them up beautifully. and let rip from outside 50. The margin now back to 16 points. Travelled 2 minutes in this final term. We were promised a thriller this afternoon between 1 and 2 on the ladder. And it looks like we might just get it. Back in the middle. It'll be Chol and Bowman going at it. Bowman won the hit out, but Chol won the clearance. Inside forward 50, the Tigers go. Zerk Thatcher got a hand to it. Arts wanted at ground level though. Just put it out into space for Butler. That was clever. The snap from Butler. He had options inboard. He might have been trying to go to them and perhaps didn't quite strike the ball properly, but as it is, it's another minor score for Richmond. They've kicked 3 goals, 7 since half-time. They lead it now by 17 points.
Hartley's going to come broadcast side, so they're wanting to use the right side of the ground, the Bombers, at every opportunity. Brown went up, didn't bring it down. Ground level, Silvestro pressured by Mosquito. Ball up. Canellan tackled by a couple Tigers. Sean Manor, one of them. Hugh Beasley, the other. Ball thrown up. Child tried to clunk it out of the ruck. Bauman, the most recent goal kicker on the ground, was his opponent, Canellan. Did he even have it? And if he did he get rid of it properly? Umpire crosses his arms. So, 17-point ball game. Chol tried to get it to the advantage of Townsend. Just got in the way there, did Minot. Eventually it spilt out. Ballard's had a good day. Might have been touched off the boot, it was, so no mark for Gleeson. And he is airborne as he's tackled by Butler. Ball up inside 50. Chol got the early jump that time. That's a high tackle on Townsend. The umpire has not paid it, holding the ball. Free kick, Essendon.
Perfect example of an umpire just out of position there to make that decision.
And that's an interesting ball for Myers, but he does take the mark in the field of play.
Just as he goes backwards inside defensive 50 for Hartley. Went one way then the other, then wanted to kick it right up the guts, and it would have worked out, but D had a little bit of a stumble, so it allowed the Richmond defenders to come in, but the kick inside 50 is poor and intercepted by Zerk Thatcher. Costly errors for both teams early on in this final term. The pressure is turned right up as McKenna takes the mark and goes long towards half forward. Unan has actually taken the mark. He flew way too early, but somehow came down with it as McKenna kept running. Inside forward 50, the pass goes. It wasn't a great one for Bagley, and now he has to apply the pressure at ground level, which he does. Credlin did well to just tap it forward and at least clear defensive 50 for the moment. But the umpire will have to intervene here. Just looking at the replay here, Unan jumped way early, but thought it was going to be a free kick against him, but got first hands to it and hauled it in. So good on Danny Unan. Hasn't been his best game so far this afternoon, but he only needs a 5 or 10 minute period to really turn it on and become a match winner. So we'll certainly be keeping an eye on him as the game goes on.
He is having a good season. He's going out more than a goal a game at the moment. He's averaging 16 disposals per game as well. So he is having a good year, Danny Unan.
He certainly is, and he can turn a game on its head in only a matter of minutes. So the Richmond defenders certainly haven't completed their job on him. Here he is here, getting involved, now laying the tackle. The ball spills out the back. Richmond not quite able to clear. Ballard got boot to ball barely, and perhaps the best outcome for everyone is a boundary throw-in.
He was trying to pick out the boundary line now, I think, and luckily Turner got there. Might have been deliberate. Boundary throw in, 17-point ball game in favour of the Tigers. They win, they go to 7-0 and open up a 2-game gap on the Bombers, who are currently second. Bombers have the better percentage, so a win here automatically gets them to the top of the ladder. And they're playing for the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup as we have a ball up on the outskirts of 50. Brown's one out in the goal square for the Bombers at the moment. Hugh Beasley on him. Umpire throws it up. Quickly cleared away by the Tigers. It's a high ball. Hartley got the fist on the ball. That's going to find the boundary line. So 7 minutes into the final term. Big finish coming up. Crowd here is absolutely packed. Getting ready for the big one tonight. Dream time at the G. As the umpire brings this back in. Right in front of our scoreboard here. 17-point lead for the Tigers. Miller won't get to it. Bauman was his opponent. Ham got the tap. Bombers going to go inside 50. It was Minot getting it in there. And Brown, Beasley, has he given away to Free? Umpire says he has. And Mitch Brown, only in his second game for the year at VFL level, did kick 5 in round 1 against Frankston. Goalless today. If he gets one here, it would be the biggest goal of the game and bring the margin to 11 points.
Just about to mention that. He's been really well held all game. Mitch Brown. Hugh Beasley's done a fantastic job. Main contributor back there in the back line.
So it's going to be lobbed toward the top of the square here. It does fall to ground level. Tigers have numbers. Ballard gets yet another touch. Naish throws it onto the right. The barrel to centre wing. Ridley worried out of it at the last moment, but pushed illegally according to the umpire. Free kick to Ridley. Goes wide. Gleeson on the outskirts of 50. Bombers going deep once more. Gleeson's ball lands in the hot spot. Tigers have numbers. Turner picks up the bouncing ball. Throws it onto the right boot. Looking for maybe a Chol. The bounce might favour Hartley. Chol was worried him out of it. Still the ball up for grabs. Now Zerk Thatcher goes in board. Looking for Ridley. Pickpocketed by Arts. Has some space. Took one bounce. Hair pass off. Butler around one tackler. Butler outside of the boot. Kicks the goal for the Tigers. They might have the 4 points locked up. It is early in the final term, but they've got one hand on the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup, 10-10-70. Bombers 7-5-47.
Worked through that brilliantly, didn't they, Adam? Hand, foot, moved it by hand through the forward 50, and Butler just thought his way around the last opponent.
What stood out to me as well is that Essendon just constantly falling behind as Richmond just had the more energy, and they've been chasing the game all day, Essendon. I'm just wondering if they're starting to run out of legs here.
Yeah, well, the intense pressure that Richmond have put on throughout the game may have taken its toll on the Bombers. They do look a little flat here. It's back out to a 4-goal lead for the Tigers, and 4-goal lead for the Tigers, so they're well placed.
23
here.
points.
Yep, well placed.
That could end up being the crucial moment in this top-of-the-table clash in round 8 in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Essendon now needs to get moving. McKenna just hacks it towards half-forward, but only as far as Caulfield. Has a man out wide. It's Turner, and that's where he goes. Now Naish just sends it long up the line. Safety first, but long in front position. Had it punched away from him. The Tigers at ground level, surrounding the footy, eventually getting there and just paddling it forward. Untidy stuff from both sides, and Long takes it over the boundary line. Unintentionally, according to the umpire. 10-10-70 plays 7-5-47. 10.5 minutes played in this final term. Number 1 spot and the VFL ladder is up for grabs in this one, and Richmond seems to have all the answers at the moment. And they'll force another stoppage here. Just forward of the wing from a Richmond perspective. They lead it by 23 points. At the back of the stoppage, McKenna gave it off to Hocking, I should say, but sold him into a lot of trouble, and boundary line, a good result for him. So a bit of a lull comes out across the Swinburne Centre once again. I think most of these Tigers fans can sense that they're going to get the win in the first leg of the Richmond-Essendon doubleheader this afternoon and tonight, as well as Ham just handballed it forward. Mosquito got there to apply the tackle, but it was all Richmond at the fall of the ball and thumped forward, and it bounces out of play. Around the grounds, looks like Collingwood are going to hold on for a win against Box Hill. They're up by 14 points late in the final term at Vic Park, and the game between Geelong and Coburg has gone final. It's the Cats winning that one by 77 points.
Hot footy to win here. Ham tackled immediately by Graham. Now Miller worried out of it there by Hocking. Good pressure by Hawking. Now it's Graham trying to spin away from the tackler. Trickles towards half forward. Just kept in play. Now it's right. It's rushed inside 50. Coates up against Hartley. Goes out of play. Boundary throw in. Hutt Road getting quite busy, as you could imagine, with Dreamtime just around the corner. This game has been contested for the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup. Tigers VFL women's side got the win against the Bombers earlier today here at the Swinburne Centre. If they hold on here, that's the double at VFL level for the Tigers. They'll be looking to go 3 for 3 at the MCG tonight. Another throw in. 10-10-70 to 7-5-47. We'll have about a 15-minute post-game show. We'll go through all the stats, update the ladder, get some interviews from the winning team as well. Right now it looks like Richmond, but the Bombers just hanging on by a thread. Need the next goal. Heppel kick toward the middle. Well picked up on the half volley there by Zirk Thatcher. Now it's Clark, but just overcooked the handball a little bit there. Did Zirk Thatcher. Clark did well to retain possession. Hocking, Heppel, brought down immediately by Miller. Ball up beside the centre square. The applause coming from the Tigers faithful in the Jack Dyer stand. Ballard's been outstanding today. He comes back out onto the ground. Maybe a child back out on the ground, and Matt D back out on the ground as well for the Bombers as Hocking. High ball. Won't quite penetrate 50. This is Butler, bounced away from him. Heppel won it back for the Bombers. Hand pass off to Clark, left foot, inside 50 for Essendon. That's a very good mark taken by Beasley.
Beasley's been good today. He's held his direct opponent, Mitch Brown, goalless. And his kick for Chol was a good one as well. Takes the mark just inside the centre square. Lead comes from Manar, and Chol puts the kick out in front of him. On the broadcast wing is Sean Manor. Sends it long towards half forward. Coates had a couple to contend with, and Ridley able to come across and take the intercept mark. Goes backwards for Ham, and now McKenna. They've got a number on the outer side. It's Union. He can get it and go if he wants. He does, not with any real purpose. Eventually, the lead comes from Sibbald, and that's where he goes with the kick, but now he's forced to hold it up. Bagley calling for it high and long deep. I don't think that's the option in this situation, as D sends it high. Chol's gotten back, got hands to it. Danger here now for the Richmond defenders. Bagley comes in, got a handball out. Jock shoots it out. Bagley got around one. Union, in fact, it is, but he couldn't get around the second, and that's holding the ball. Essendon's best goal-scoring opportunity in the last 15 minutes goes begging, and it's going to be a Richmond free kick deep inside defensive 50.
Patrick Naish to take it for the Tigers. In front of Richmond Station. And if commuters will be making their way to the G5 Richmond Station, you would think, this evening. Kick to the wing. D takes a nice mark for Essendon. So the clock is their enemy now, but they just don't look like it at the moment. They're down by 23 points as Long goes inside 50, finds Union. Did he come off his line? Umpire has said play on. Union just got his kick out in time. It's on the way, hits the post. They couldn't afford that, the Bombers. Down by 22, 7-6-48. Tigers 10-10-70. Looking like they're going to remain undefeated tonight in the Parjaka Totally Workwear VFL. As Naish toward the outer side he goes. 2-on-2 contest, no mark taken. Sibbald was there. Eventually Long gets it back inside 50. Deep ball. Hocking at the back, got rid of his man. Took the mark in point blank range. Must kick the goal to keep the Bombers' hopes alive. Margin before the kick is 22 points. Heath Hocking has 7 goals this season, make it 8. And the margin here is 16 points, 16 and a half into the final term. Richmond 10-10-70, the Bombers are 8-6-54.
So a pulse for the Bombers.
Yeah, it's still a pulse, still a pulse. It's a tight contest. Richmond have certainly had the better of it, but the Bombers are still there, and there's still time.
It certainly is, Hilly. 17 minutes gone, final term. They need 3 goals to win it to the Bombers, and they can't afford to concede.
Just feeling some light spits of rain at the moment too, so might get a very light shower.
I'll get that radar back up for you, Hilly.
That won't make life any easier for the Bombers as Goats wins the hit out. Clark couldn't quite handle it, and Chol, as he's done all day, just read it to perfection. And now Turner inside 50. Brewer just fell through his hands. Does well to burrow in at ground level, but Essendon able to clear through McKenna. Just sends it long into the centre of the ground, and perhaps rather fortuitously, it landed into the lap of Mitch Brown. He's had to come a long way up the ground to get the footy today, though. Mitch Brown sends it inside 50, barely. Hocking had it punched away from him. Going at ground level is Goats, but Richmond able to clear through Butler, and now Markov, we know he likes to take them on, does so here and sends it to the one-on-one. Good mark taken by Ballard in front of Zerk Thatcher. Wants to get it moving quickly, perhaps to his detriment. He's put Manor under a lot of pressure, and perhaps luckily for him, he had the boundary line as a friend.
Just looked at the radar, Hilly. There is a deluge definitely coming. We're on air for another 25 minutes. I think we're going to be in trouble as we're just wrapping up the coverage today.
18 and a half minutes gone, final term. 16-point ball game at the Swinburne Centre. As the ball comes spinning back into play, Chol just gets both fists to it. Out of bounds it goes, and deliberate. No, the one field umpire called it deliberate. The other one called for a throw-in. And a throw-in is the result.
Some overruling.
Perhaps a little lucky there, Mabior Chol.
It's either that or the first throw-in was recalled.
Might be, in fact, it did fall short, and that one fell a little bit short as well. As the kick comes inside 50 off the boot of Street. Bounced just inside the field of play and out of bounds. He gained about 35 metres for his team. Ball in deep inside forward 50 for the Tigers.
Bombers have to stand up here if they're to will their way back into this contest. They must get the clearance.
Goats and Coates. I'm not joking. In the ruck. Coates is in front position. Butler worried out of it by Zerk Thatcher. Canellan's kicked it and go far. Minot, hot footy to win, but got beaten to it there by Silvestro. Put it onto the boot. Rushed it out of bounds on the full. Bombers get it back. 16-point ball game. We're about to tick into time on.
A little bit more feeling here in the forward pocket too. 3 or 4 players tangled up.
The Bombers would love to go coast to coast here. Zerk Thatcher, long ball. Look for Jock to fly here. Bouncing ball out of play. Just outside 50 for the Tigers. A nervous Craig McRae watching on from the Richmond bench. A lot of Richmond officials around us. Michael Peppicelli nervously willing their VFL side home here. We're into time on of the final term. Very gloomy now at the Swinburne Centre. There was a bit of sunshine in the second term. That's gone for the day now. Townsend burrowed into the turf by Jock, and there's a bit going on just behind all this. Minot gets involved. Dylan Clark isn't happy at the moment. There's a wrestle going on. Umpire throws it up. It's the right decision. Just get on with it. Oleg Markov is the man that's unhappy for the Tigers at the moment. Ball's on ground level. Markov and Clark, the 237, still going at it. Finally, that breaks up and we've got a ball up. 21 minutes into the final term. Tigers have one hand on the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup. Bombers need to get a move on. Clark to half forward. Whistle while the ball was in flight. And it's an Essendon free kick for Brown. Bombers need a goal from this entry. Mitch Brown too far out to score, looking toward the square. Does go short. Jock, he's also too far out. Tom Jock looking for Houlihan just over his head. Art's got back. He's been outstanding today, Jake Hart. Hand pass off. Now it's Egmalesi Smith. He was under pressure. Sibbled in the region here. Big contact. Hard ball to win. Fumble. Egmalesi Smith with the tackle. Ball up in the pocket. Unless the ball comes out here. It will be a ball up. It is very dark here at the Swinburne Centre.
It's that dark on the other side of the ground. I'm having trouble distinguishing between players, although one team is black and the other team is red.
There is a free kick here going to Derek Igmalesi-Smith, and the Tigers are out of danger.
High intensity stuff here at the Swinburne Centre. Chol got up high, couldn't bring it down. They're going to go inside 50 again, the Bombers. Union takes the mark.
Needs to hurry up.
He does, and he knows that. He's going back quickly.
It won't be a long quarter, probably only go about 28, 29 minutes.
He'll kick from about 30 metres out directly in front. Now he's taking a little bit of time. He does need to steady and put it through, but he needs to be quick about it as well. Danny Union yet to kick a goal this afternoon. Kicked 4 last week. He comes in and makes no mistake. Margin back to 10 points. 23 minutes gone now, final term. Richmond lead at 10-10-70 to 9-6-60. Perhaps still a chance for the Bombers, Adam.
Healy, I think the game is going to end before the deluge arrives, so I don't think the weather's actually going to become a factor here.
Good news for me.
But the bad news is it could well arrive while you're trying to get your interviews in the post-game, so just take it easy out there.
Will do, but I think we're in for a grandstand finish here. Probably be about 4 or 5 minutes of game time remaining, and the Bombers are still very much a chance, only 10 points down. 23
minutes into the final term, it's the Tigers by 10. Umpire to put it down. Bouncing's been great all day, and it remains that way. Outstanding bouncing today at the Swinburne Centre. Myers tried to soccer it off the ground. Clark picked up but tackled immediately there by Collier Dawkins. Ball spits loose, it's up for grabs. Townsend brought to ground straight away by Bowman. Umpire says ball up. Still inside the centre square.
It must be hard for the umpires as well. It's so dark at the moment.
The scoreboard is actually providing artificial light for the ground at the moment.
Great hit out from Chol.
But the Tigers work their way towards half forward. Herpel wins it back for the Bombers. The kick to the wing. Over the head of Bauman, who's out the back. Nice handball there by Hocking. Bauman towards half forward. Nice handball. Irving Mosquito gets around one tackler. Fumbled the ball. Umpire says play on. Hot ball to win now. Igmalesi-Smith. Free kick Essendon. Free kick to Irving Mosquito in the pocket.
I think he's just taken high.
He kicks a goal and the game is within a kick. Big finish coming up. Irving Mosquito can't afford to take too much time setting up his shot. Kicked 2 goals earlier in the game, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Both were late in the quarter. For Essendon's 10th goal of the game. It'll bring him within 4 points of the Tigers, who have just stopped in front of Richmond Station. Mosquito, left foot, umpire working to his right. It hit the post, I think.
Just skim the post on the behind side.
So it's a 9-point ball game, 25 gone, final turn.
2 goals, 2 in this game for Irving Mosquito. 9-point game, 25.5 minutes gone as Igmalesi-Smith goes short and is able to find Naish in the back pocket. Under all sorts of pressure at the moment, the Tigers. Naish just gets it out of there. Sends it high and long. Chol contested well. And the Tigers able to get it moving forward, but only as far as Zerk Thatcher, and it's going to be 50 as well. The crowd not happy.
Big decision.
It is a big decision at this stage of the game. And a big moment.
So the mark's been set at 40 metres, so he's within range.
So it is Zerk Thatcher to take the shot at goal. Hasn't kicked one this season. This could be a big one for Essendon. He leans back and slams it through. Margin back to 3 points. (10-7-67) now the Bombers. Richmond 10-10-70. There can't be too long left in this game. We've gone 26.5 minutes in the final term.
Round the grounds wins for Collingwood and Geelong in the VFL, and there is a game coming up tonight between Footscray and North Melbourne. Margin here is 3 points.
It could be a 6-6-6 here. No. They've worked it out, the Bombers.
It is
a lot of screaming from the coach's box there.
Yeah, so it looks like we're all clear now. It is very, very dark at the Swinburne Centre. 27 minutes gone. Tigers clinging on by just 3 points. It's been a remarkable finish by the Bombers. Ball was socked towards half forward. Mosquito initially fumbled, picked up, but brought down was Collier Dawkins. Free kick. Danny Union wins the free kick for the Bombers. Looking inside 50. An intense finish here at the Swinburne Centre. Union gets the 1-2. Threw it onto the right boot. We're inside 50. The mark has been paid to Jacob Townsend. And he goes toward the outer side, and the Tigers maybe can start thinking about milking some clock. Manor is the man that has it. Great mark by Jacob Townsend. As Manor runs off his line, kick to the outer side. No mark was taken. Very hard to see what's going on out there at the moment. It's on the outer side of the ground. We've got a ball up in front of the scoreboard. Tigers by 3 points. 28 minutes gone in this final term.
A lot of space in the Essendon forward line.
So the ball is thrown up. That was Bauman winning it down. Took a long time straight to get his kick away. Didn't go 15. Houlihan sold it and got it. High contact free kick for the Bombers.
Has it right on the outer wing. Needs to get up. His Richmond opponent trying to hold him down and did well to gain a few seconds.
Must be only a minute to go.
Houlihan sends it long and deep inside 50. Chol! Could he be the hero for Richmond? Takes an outstanding defensive mark. He's had a brilliant game this afternoon, Mabior Chol. And he takes the defensive mark and just gets it out of the area. Very close to the boundary line, though. Off hands, out of play.
They're just hanging on for dear life here, the Tigers. They're just looking for that siren.
29 minutes gone now, final term. It's been a 4-goal-to-1 quarter in favour of the Bombers. Really, it's been a 4-goal-to-1 15 minutes in favour of the Bombers as Chol just slaps it out of midair, gains about 30 metres. No. And he won't get called for deliberate. Really clever stuff from Chol on that occasion.
Buys a little time for their setup.
Gained about 25 metres of territory as well.
Just forward of centre wing now for the Tigers. Bowman and Chol go at it once again. Tigers had the numbers at the back. Free kick, Essendon.
Yeah, Long was held off behind play and got ripped down to the ground.
Wants to go quickly. Went one. Oh, had to get back behind his mark. Wanted to play on. Eventually does and spots a man short. It's Bowman.
Wouldn't take too much time. Just get it into the forward line for the Bombers.
He's in front of the scoreboard. He pops it up to 50. Big fly. Mark couldn't quite be hauled in. Now at ground level. Richmond need to be careful here.
Holding the ball.
It is Essendon ball. They take advantage as well. Kick is a centering ball. Who's there? Heppel, the skipper. Punched away from him. Lots of numbers around this footy. The Tigers defending desperately here at the moment. And they'll get a stoppage. 30 minutes gone. 3-point ball game in favour of the Tigers.
Bombers need to find a goal kicker here and win it. Tigers need to prevent that and win it. Top of the table's on the line. Free kick. Richmond.
To the Tigers.
Maybe a Chol to take it.
Just got one high.
The fans are delighted here at the Swinburne Centre. As Chol towards the outer side. That scoreboard now shining brightly here in the dark. As the ball goes out of play, boundary throw in. I'm having flashbacks of last year's final against Williamstown Hilly.
It is extremely dark here.
We're beyond 30 minutes now. 31's about to tick by. The Tigers are clinging on for dear life, trying to maintain their unbeaten record here in the VFL. Ballard's been outstanding. Got it towards half forward. Harley tried to leave it at ground level. Maybe one last chance here for the Bombers. It's trickling towards half forward. Ballard again. Did well. Nash under pressure though. Chance now. Heppel brought to ground. Still had the ball. Hand pass inside 50. Union had to jump for it. Desperate tackle by Silvestro. Brought to ground level. We're going to have a ball up at the top of 50.
Ooh.
31 and a half minutes gone. Real intense stuff here at the Swinburne Centre. The Tigers have got lots of numbers at the stoppage here. But if the Bombers can get it forward, there is the siren. The Tigers hold on and remain undefeated in 2019 in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. They hold on to win it by 3 points, 10-10-70 to 10-7-67 over a fast finishing Essendon.
Mitch. So leaving the field immediately.
Thanks for that, Hilly. We look forward to your post-game interview with one of the Tigers players.
As long as Hilly's in range, it's that dark out there. I cannot see what's going on at the moment. You were calling that last passage of play, Michael Pippicelli, without binoculars. I don't know how you did it, because I definitely could not have without the binoculars, as the umpires get a little bit of advice. I think they're fairly fair today. I don't know what the stats were for free kicks, Michael Pippicelli, but didn't think there was anything too untoward. The Tigers did it without their skipper, Steve Morris, who had an outstanding first half. Hilly, just cut us off whenever you need us to. We'll be on air for the next 10 minutes on SEN2 and streaming on VFL.com.au. The Tigers are 7-0, and they are the team to beat in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. The Bombers were brave. That's their second loss of the year. There will be a post-game presentation. So we've got the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup, which will go to the Tigers, and there is a best on ground prize being given out as well. Hilly just lurking around the Tigers huddle at the moment.
We'll just be joined by Marbella Chol in just finishing up a couple of handshakes.
So we will see the best on ground prize. I think that's the Sir Doug Nicholls best on ground as well that is being given away here.
Just jump in.
Yeah, Hilly, go.
Marble, fantastic performance.
We knew Essendon was going to give us a great challenge today. Obviously, Fly gave us a game plan that we wanted to come in and match them inside and outside as well. So, look, I thought everyone was terrific today. Obviously, we stuck to our structure, then, you know, we just got over the line. But we're happy with the 4 point. And today I played full-time ruck. It's something I haven't been doing all year, but really embraced it and enjoyed the challenge today. So.
And you also still found time to go forward and did well in forward half.
Knew I was going to get forward as well at some time, just for a quick breather. But yeah, I was lucky to.
All right, Hilly, you just might be.
Today we were very good. Obviously, we still got a lot of stuff to work on.
Yeah, I think the range is just.
No worries, Marble. We might let you get back to it. We're losing a little bit of light and tech. Enjoy the win in the rooms and well.
We'll just probably leave it there, unfortunately. Hilly, just the technology couldn't quite get the rest of that. So we are on air until 5:15, so we will have the post-game presentations here. Michael, any thoughts on who you think might be getting that prize as best on ground for the Tigers, or even maybe a Bomber gets it in a losing result?
Well, the man Hilly just spoke to, Marbella Chol, would have to be one of the clubhouse leaders. He played an excellent game this afternoon. As he said in that interview, full-time ruck, which is something he hasn't done a lot of throughout his career. But he was one of the big higher disposal winners on the ground, 22 disposals. Dylan Clark led the way with 26 for the Bombers. Myers had 25 as well. For the Tigers, Fraser Turner led the way with 25, and then Marbella Chol and Paddy Nash had 22 apiece. Geez, it's hard to pick, but if I had to pick a player, I think I would go with Chol.
So
Dan Butler also played a very good game. A little bit inaccurate, kicked 1 goal, 3 in the end, but when Richmond made that run in the third quarter, he's very good.
The best on ground award for Sir Doug Nicholls, and also the Sir Doug Nicholls trophy to the winning team.
First on round today for today was Richmond Mario Charles.
There you go. 22 disposals, 22 hit-outs and 1 goal, 1 throwing, 7 marks as well and 5 tackles. That's an outstanding performance by maybe a Chol. He will provide a bit of a speech here.
First of all, well done to Essendon. Thought it was a very good contest throughout the whole day. Obviously, we knew you guys were going to be tough to beat. I think credit to our boys who stuck to our game plan today. Got over the line. Well done, Gucci. I like watching you play. Yeah, boys, tough today. Very good start to the year. And we know we've got a long season ahead. I think we're going to be tough to beat this year. So, well done.
So now the Doug Nichols Cup will be presented to the Tigers. Might just leave it there, Peps. I don't think we're getting much of the presentation, unfortunately, from an audio perspective. So an outstanding win for the Tigers here today. They are now 7-0 as we do try and bring up the live ladder here in the Hard Jacket Tonally Workwear VFL. They are 2 games clear now of the Bombers as we speak at 5-2 and second spot on the ladder. Port Melbourne is also at 5-2. They are having the week off. Footscray playing tonight against North Melbourne. They are 4th as we speak. Williamstown at 4-2. They play tomorrow. Northern Blues also playing tomorrow. They are 6th on the ladder. Box Hill went down to Collingwood today in 7th spot, and Werribee is 3-3. There's a draw in there as well, obviously, for Box Hill, which is why they are above Werribee on the ladder. Very similar percentages. And then in order, the bottom 7, Geelong, Sandringham, Casey, Collingwood, Coburg, North Melbourne, and the only team that remains winless is Frankston.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. A massive win for Richmond to get that 2-game advantage now on top of the ladder. That might change after tonight with Footscray, of course, playing. Might become a 1.5 game lead, but really they've been the dominant team so far in this VFL season. They've really been the dominant team since the start of 2017, as we noted in the pre-game. They've really dominated the competition, and they haven't been able to win a premiership, but perhaps this year, maybe 3rd time lucky for them. They've got things purring along very nicely, both at AFL level and VFL level as well.
Hilly, I don't know if we've still got you somewhere on the Swinburne Centre. If the game had have ran late today, the lights were clearly not going to come on. It is very, very dark here, and in that last quarter, I was struggling to see much of the play. That could have been an issue late in the game.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I think maybe even halfway through the 3rd quarter, I think we should have seen the lights go on. It was getting extremely gloomy towards the end of the quarter, and then by the time we're halfway through the last, I couldn't make out which players were actually handling the footy.
Thank you for today, Hilly. Last minute call up, but glad you were here at the Swinburne Centre. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, I think, here on Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL Live.
Yep.
Michael Peppercelli, well done today. I'll see you next week at Arden Street for North Melbourne and Richmond.
Certainly will, Adam. Looking forward to that one, the opening of the new redeveloped ground.
Final score here, Richmond 10-10-70, Essendon 10-7-67 on behalf of Michael Peppercelli and Glenn Hill. I'm Adam Sarri-Coglu. Thank you for watching Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL Live. Good night.